Right. Yeah.
And he's the smart one of all of us.
Right. Yeah. So this says I'm live, and I'm sure we can trust it now. I'm going to bring it up on YouTube here in a minute on my phone. But welcome to Carnivore Talk. Glad to see everybody here again for another nice roundtable discussion this Monday night. And if you'd like to join us, along with Kurt and Geoff here, there's a variety of ways to do it. The free and easiest way is to register for an account over at carnivore-talk.com, and in the private members only forum pinned at the top, there's a post with the link on how to get here and join us on screen. We've got room for 10 at this round table. And so currently there's 3, so there's plenty of room just for you. So if you have a webcam and a little courage, you'd like to join us on screen and talk about your success on the carnivore diet, your questions about a carnivore diet, or just our experiences on a carnivore diet, we would love to have you here. So yeah, and then in a little bit, I'll actually post the link here in the chat too, because we've done that over the last couple of weeks, and that's actually turned out very nice. Speaking of the chat, I see that we have the feral grandma has joined us here. Let's start off right. Remember to bring these up on the screens. Yes, we are 8 o'clock. So you see we posted that a few minutes ago. We try and start right on time. And then we have Mandy from the UK. Welcome, Mandy. It's nice to see you. And let's see here. Kitchen Witch. She's been looking forward to this. So have I. Although I will admit that I've had my second busy weekend in a row, and usually I prepare for this. I get it set up and posted, and I start advertising it 2-3 days in advance, and I just didn't have the opportunity, so I kind of scrambled to do all that today after work. But we made it, and we're here. Okay. All right. And there's Granny Boo too. So it's good to see everybody in the chat. It's good to see my friends on screen today. And how are things going down there in Texas? I heard you talking a little bit about that, Geoff. And your state's kind of been in the news lately for things that kind of actually touch our hearts in a negative way.
Yeah. I'm well north of the Fredericksburg area, so we've been getting a lot of rain, but nothing like what they've been getting down there. So we've been fortunate. I grew up down in that neck of the woods, so I'm very familiar with it. And it was Guadalupe that overflowed, and I know that Guadalupe pretty good. I've done a lot of swimming in it, a lot of fishing in it, and that area down there is the hill country, and it's well known for flooding low water areas because it's the hill country, so everything runs downhill. And so you got a lot of low water crossings and whatnot. And so it can get kind of rough when they get a rain that just is a lot of rain to us. It can be flood rains to them down there. So, all we can do is pray and hope for the best for them. That they come out of it okay. Those that have made it so far. We feel for them for sure. There's a lot of relief efforts going on up here, going down there to help them out.
All right, I'm just jumping it over in the chat here. I see. Let's see. Keto Simple is jumping in. Wanted to say hi. And he's talking about possibly jumping in, and if so, I'm going to post the link. It's the same link as always. We have seen no reason to change it yet, so we use the same one every week. So if you do have that opportunity, you're more than welcome to join us. So is anybody else who's in the chat right now, if you'd like to see this, if you'd like to join us on screen, that would be fantastic. We would love to have you. And so yeah, Geoff, thanks for the update. Yeah, I caught it a couple days kind of late. I didn't catch the news right away, but I watched some videos that was posted online of this river. And when they say flash flood, this was truly a flash flood. Like you just see the normal little stream, and then all of a sudden, here comes a torrent of water. And it's like the video I saw was of this bridge. I could probably pull it up. and it looked like it was a deep ravine, and it filled up and it filled up and almost got to the bottom of the bridge, and it was uprooting large trees and sweeping them under the bridge and downstream. So it was something else and heartbreaking. I heard the death tolls in the 90s now, and last
and
I
see,
heard,
those things come on hard and fast. There's no warning. You know, if you're anywhere along any river, you got to understand that what's ever happening up north of you is going to come down to you. You know, and those rivers fill up fast and they flow hard.
Yeah. All right. And then, so Kurt, how have you been doing?
6 feet above ground.
6 feet above ground is better than
Still
6 feet under.
Still stuff. Yeah, still stuff in my face too.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So, and all right, everybody have a good, nice extended weekend.
Oh, I had a 5-day weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'd had mine was a mixed bag. So obviously everybody took Friday off, so we went up to Cedar Point.
Cool.
Which I expected to be crowded, but it was actually not that bad. And then we got to ride some roller coasters. We didn't ride the new Siren's Curse, but we did ride the new Top Thrill 2, which was great. If you know anything about it, it takes off. It used to take off at 120 miles an hour and shoot you up 420 feet. It's currently the tallest coaster in the world. And then they remanned it to where they changed the launching system. It's not quite as powerful, so it goes up, but then you roll back, and then they added a backtrack, and it takes you about 3 times passing over the track before you get enough speed. So they took a exciting ride and they made it better. And then we got out of there before the fireworks went off, because we would have been in a gridlock trying to in the parking lot for a couple hours if we actually waited that long. But then since I did that on Friday, I did have to go to work Saturday. So that was a bummer. But then we went and saw a movie, the new Jurassic Park movie that's out there. And it was actually very entertaining. I enjoyed it. So if you like dinosaur movies or mutant dinosaur movies. So, all right. Very good. Going back to our chat here, we have... Hi, Robert and Geezy, and Kurt has his glasses on. Yeah, we don't see Kurt in glasses very often. You're muted. Yeah, I know. So you probably someone asked you to mute while you were eating. Yeah, so that's okay. You can keep it that way until you're ready. All right. I'm across 29 from the San Gabriel east of Georgetown. It's been a mess.
Yep.
So that must be a Texas reference there.
Yes, it is.
All right. But glad you're here and glad you're doing okay. And I'm sorry to hear about the mess that's down there. So it definitely is sad to see what the community is having to experience there. All right. And hello, Dustin from Kitchen Witch. Let's see here. And so here you go. What you got? Oh, wait, you answered. You answered in the chat. Never mind. 3.25 pounds of chuck roast. Wow. I'll tell you what, I can't, like I said, I can almost do 2 pounds in a sitting, but 3 is impressive. Every time I hear that. Let's see here. Kurt's eating as part of the draw. All right. Very good. Okay. All right. So did you have any get-togethers on the 4th of July? And if so, how was trying to manage staying faithful to your carnivore diet?
No real get-togethers here.
I got something to share.
Well, actually, we did have a little get-together. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Geoff.
Yeah, I forgot. We just went down to the lake. Got on my son-in-law's boat. We went and watched fireworks show from the lake, from out there on the boat on the lake, and it was a pretty nice show. But it rained on us the whole time we was out there, so it wasn't real pleasant. It was tolerable, but not pleasant.
Yeah, and then I went. So we didn't have a get together either because I was at Cedar Point, but I started the day at Dunkin' Donuts with 2 orders of egg bites and 3 sides of sausage patty. So that was pure carnivore, true and true. And so that was a win. And then later in the day, when everybody got hungry, almost everything in the park is not carnivore, carnival food. Everything's pizza and corn dogs and fried this and fried that, and elephant ears and ice cream and Dippin' Dots and junk, overpriced junk at that. So we usually exit the park, walk the beach on the point, and there's a TGI Fridays at the bottom of a hotel. And so I was able to go there and have a New York strip and a chicken breast. So
That's how you do it.
Yep. So,
I find people online making excuses for why they had to go off plan, because they were traveling or because they went someplace, their family went to a restaurant, whatever. And I just don't find any excuses plausible. There's always a way. And if nothing else, fasting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I had the New York strip, and then you could add a side of chicken breast to it. So I added the chicken breast because I knew the New York strip would be about 12 ounces. The chicken breast said it was like 5.5 ounces. It did come with a little broccoli, which I did eat. Then my son, he ordered a double cheeseburger, but he only ate part of it, and then he wasn't interested in it anymore. So I took the meat patties off of that and finished that off. So I actually ate pretty hearty, and we were there with it was me, my wife, my son, his girlfriend, and her father. And as I'm wolfing down all this food, her father looks at me and goes, "You are quite the carnivore." And I was like, "Yeah, of course I am." So yeah, I was able to do that, and then plus all that walking, I had some good exercise, and then of course it was 90 degrees and walking around in the heat all day. I actually find that I don't have an appetite in that kind of weather. If I'm outside sweating in the sun, I actually tend to not really get hungry throughout the day, and it's kind of fasting comes easy. So, Kurt, what was your experience you wanted to share?
Oh, a very, very, very bad one.
Oh yeah,
People. Take my advice. Take my advice. I went shopping at Costco with my wife, and of course, at the end, one of my weaknesses is pistachios and cashews, and we get 2 big bags, a big bag of each, and we get home, and I decided, okay, I'm going to try some of each, and probably about, I don't know, 6 o'clock last night, my tummy was telling me, "Kurt, big mistake. I don't want this crap." And I was up until probably midnight with stomach cramps I've never experienced before. And I don't wish it on an enemy. It was just
good for you.
Nasty.
Good for you. That was a lesson to be learned.
Yeah. Yeah. No more nuts for me.
We have to do that once in a while to tell us why we shouldn't do it. I used to have a saying back when I used to drink a lot, that every once in a while I got to get drunk just to remind myself why I don't want to get drunk. And I can carry that same thing over to food or anything else in life. Sometimes you just got to make that mistake to teach yourself why you don't want to make that mistake. So
experience.
Now you know. That's just like when I was 6 months into carnivore, I just had to have some chili. My wife wanted some venison chili, and I said, man, and she likes my chili. I fixed her a big old bowl of red, and I looked at it and I said, man, it's mostly meat. It ought to be all right. So I fixed me a small bowl of it, and man, it tasted so good. So I had me another small bowl. My wife even warned me. She says, "You might want to be careful. It's been a while." I said, "Yeah, I'm all right. I'm just eating a small bowl." I was sick for 3 days. Now, was it the tomatoes in it, or was it the heavy amount of chili powder? I don't know, but I'm not going to split them up and find out. All I know is I just need to avoid chili, so I won't eat it anymore. Lesson learned.
Yeah, that could be the chili powder, the chili seasonings in there, or
Now, see, I can
or if it
eat
was
hot
meat.
peppers. I can eat
Yeah.
jalapenos, and I mean, I've gone as far as ghost peppers,
Mhm.
and I can handle it. It's the so I'm thinking it might have been the tomatoes.
Tomatoes could be, yeah, it could, yeah. And did you have bean? Were there beans in it?
No, I made chili. I didn't make soup.
Okay, chili up
Thanks
here
for
in Ohio.
correcting Bob.
Chili in
We're-
Ohio usually has beans in it too.
Yeah, in Texas, we're the people that invented chili, so we have the right to say what goes in it, and it's actually our state dish, officially our state dish, and we do not put beans in chili.
Okay. All right. Duly noted. Yeah. No. Anywhere you go up here,
Kitchen Witch, you're wrong. Yeah. Oh yeah, Texas. Duh. You're right. I'm reading her comments way down there.
Oh yeah. Anywhere you go here in Ohio, you go to a restaurant, you go to Wendy's, you go to your mom's, your chili is going to have beef and like kidney beans, inside the chili. Yeah, with the tomato base and
There
the
you
chili
go,
pepper
Farrell.
seasoning. Yeah. So, all right, I'll catch up on some comments here. So Lisa says, hi, everyone. Hi, Lisa. Glad to have you here tonight. And then we have Latro in the house. She says, no serious damage in my immediate area. Everything is drenched, though. Yeah.
Yeah, down there in the Austin area.
We've been dry and
which is
hot
not far
until
from
today.
Fredericksburg.
Yeah. We've been dry and hot until today. We had some storms roll in, and we're expecting some more. So, Grammy G, welcome to our Monday night live. Not the popular Monday Night Live, but the Monday Night Live after party. That's kind of what we like to think of ourselves as. So I made it just in time to watch Meathead eat his dinner. Oh, yes. Yeah. If you're on time, we start at dinner time for Kurt. So like clockwork. All right. Eating what I should while still recovering from too many meals away in Wyoming. All right. Okay. Very good. Good recovery. And you're back on track. That sounds good. Got to spend Father's Day and weekend with the dad. And that's funny. When was Father's Day? That was in June, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't even know. Beans, yes, Texas. All right. So I learned something today. So Texans invented chili. Texans will laugh at you if you put beans in your chili. All right, still making my chili, but not often. And so that's interesting. Like I don't eat chili because I don't want the beans, because the beans are carbs and I try and avoid legumes. So I might be able to I might be able to tolerate some Texas chili then, from time to time, not as a staple, but I wouldn't mind giving it a try. All right. In Pennsylvania here, I've been to a few cook-offs and learned a lot. Like white chicken chili is not chili.
I will agree with that 100%.
And then yeah, I've had white chicken chili. It's creamy and it usually has beans in it too, but a different variety.
Just sounds disgusting.
Red beef or smoked pork green chili. I don't put any beans.
Oh, Farrell, I'll tell you what. Now, I've got I almost hate to say it on this forum, but I've got a green a pork and green chili stew that I used to make. Knock your socks off good. And I would use wild hog, and I'd smoke the meat before I put it in there. It was good stuff, but off the menu now.
And welcome, Sharon. Says, I used to love meatless chili. So that probably doesn't exist in Texas either.
It would probably be considered blasphemy around here.
I've heard of a meatless chili, so I wonder if that would be like I wonder if that'd be considered vegan, a vegan chili.
Well, it'd have to be.
Yeah. All right. So, speaking of vegans, for some reason, Facebook. You know how these short form videos, these short vertical videos, they call them they're either on TikTok, they're called TikToks, or on YouTube, they're called shorts. And then on Instagram and Facebook, they're called reels. And they're these little video clips and they're vertical on your phone. And it's easy to kind of get into this habit of scrolling them and watch them. And next thing you know, like time sucks by. Facebook's algorithm is the worst, because I start watching some of these shorts or reels or whatever on these little videos. And maybe because I have this carnivore Facebook page, but then it starts serving up anti-carnivore stuff and vegan propaganda. Even on like my Carnivore Talk Facebook page, I'm following all these carnivore influencers. And that's what I want to see in my feed. But it keeps shoving vegan garbage in my face nonstop. And you can sit there and be like, hide. I don't want to see, block. And they just start throwing more in there. It is absolutely mind-boggling, awful. And but the one that I get seen a lot lately is from Freely the Banana Girl. Have you heard of her? So
No.
I referenced her in my sugar diet video, and she's out there. She believes that white cane sugar is nutritious. Like, she thinks that the world's fruits and vegetables, because our soils are depleted, they don't have enough nutrition in them. So you must roll them in sugar or sprinkle sugar on them to make them more nutritious.
Okay, let's look at this logically. If the soil is depleted and your fruits and vegetables have no nutrition in them because the soil is depleted, where does she think cane sugar comes from? It might be in the title, cane.
Yeah.
Where does cane come from? It comes from the ground. Oh, from the soil that's depleted. So by her logic, even the sugar cannot have cane. And if it's not cane, or it cannot have nutrients in it because it comes from the ground. And if not cane, then it's coming from sugar beets. And once again, they come from where? In the ground.
But cane
so by her
rhymes
logic,
with rain.
Yeah. Well, she must think it's manna from heaven somehow.
I could go play some of these shorts, but I included this one in my sugar diet video. So her reasoning behind it. So she obviously doesn't make that connection. Obviously, she says that since the cane grows out under the sun, it collects this energy from the sun, and so the sugar is actually sun crystals.
Where does she think all the other vegetables and fruits are grown? Underground?
No, so those were a couple cringy. Those were a couple cringy reels. I know, it gets you fired
Positive
up,
proof. Yes, it does. Positive proof that veganism causes a brain deficiency.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Right there. Yep. And so I saw a reel today where you may have seen it. There's a reel of this, like, middle-aged gentleman with white hair, and he wears a glucose monitor on his arm, and he always says, "I'm going to eat this, and then we're going to look at see what kind of glucose spike it had."
Yeah, I've seen
it. So he'll eat like a bowl of pasta, and then it'll fast forward a couple hours, and then he'll review the data. And then sometimes he'll eat a bunch of nuts first, or eat some fat first, and then eat the pasta, and then he'll test it again to see what impact that had. And usually the consumption of a protein or a fat before he has the carbs will blunt the spike.
Exactly.
So anyway, he did this with a banana, and so she's the banana girl. She found it kind of offensive. So he does it with a banana, and then the banana there's a big glucose spike. Then he takes the same banana and he he smothers it in peanut butter and eats it that way. And so there's still a glucose spike, but it's a much more flattened spike. And of course, if you have any nutrition knowledge whatsoever, you know that flattening the glucose spike is going to be better for you than having an out of control sharp spike. Okay.
Right.
But not according to her. According to her, you want the sharp spike because that's instant energy going right into your cells to be used. And you don't want the flattened spike because that's sticking in your blood for a while. And you don't want it to be in your blood so very long. But it's the complete opposite of what even mainstream medicine will say. And we don't, as carnivores, we don't really care for mainstream medicine ourselves. But she's saying like she's not only disagreeing with mainstream medicine, she's obviously going to the opposite side. So it's quite mind-boggling. One of these days, we're just going to sit here and torture ourselves with Freely the Banana Girl reels and just rip each one of them apart because they are entertaining.
I think
that's
maybe,
just one example.
I think maybe you need to do a critique video on that.
A reaction video.
There you go. Yeah, a reaction video.
Yeah, she's making them where she criticizes a glucose goddess.
That's so if she's doing that to other people, do it to her.
Yep.
And the thing is, my gosh, her arguments are the most illogical things I've ever heard. It's ridiculous.
They're something else.
I mean, you've got a man that is that is showing you exactly how it works in his body. And you can't argue with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works in his body. And what works in his body ain't going to work in my body or your body. It's going to be different. We can't go by a blanket statement that this is going to happen. And a good example of that was Nick Norris. Excuse me. I don't remember exactly what it was he was doing, but he had a video where he noticed that what normally will spike most people's blood sugar doesn't spike his. And that's what it was. It was, he was doing an experiment. I think he ate like a bunch of chocolate, a whole serving of chocolate, and checked his blood sugar. And yeah, it went up, but it wasn't an extremely sharp spike. He turns around and eats something like, I don't remember what it was, some vegetable or something. And he spiked like he had just eaten a bowl full of sugar. And yet he says other people have the exact opposite results of what he had. They can eat the vegetable and have a moderate rise. They eat the chocolate and it's a tremendous spike. And so that just tells me that everybody is different. Mm-hmm. And each food is going to affect us different. And that's why it's so difficult for us to say, you should do this way because this is what works for me. Well, we can't say that because what works for me may not work for you. It's just like, okay, so most of us know that I've reversed my atrial fibrillation by eating carnivore. I'm off of all my heart meds. Yet I know people around the world that have contacted me after seeing the videos that have been posted about me. They've contacted me with asking for advice. One of them comes on here. He's not here tonight. Asking about theirs. And carnivore isn't fixing their problem. It isn't reversing their problem. I don't know why. I don't know if they're actually eating a true carnivore diet or if they're just, hinting around at it. But it's not working for them. So I can't help them. My blood pressure dropped tremendously within the first 3 months. Yet I know other people, their blood pressure is slowly coming down. Kurt's a good example of it. Their blood pressure is slowly going down, or they still need to take some medication, but they're not having the results I had. We're all different. So coming across with a blanket statement saying you got to do this, that's just wrong. We can't do that. All we can do is say, this is what worked for me. Your results may be different.
Yeah, and that's true. Like, we all know that person that could sit there and, eat bread and chocolate cake and cookies and their toothpick, and they never they want to gain weight and they complain that they can't. And then
Right.
I can just be within the vicinity of a chocolate cake and just smell it and start
the
gaining
smell
weight.
has calories. The smell has calories. I get it.
Yeah,
I get
like
it.
it's like kryptonite. Like, keep that away from me, or it's gonna
And
start swelling up here.
an interesting observation I made a long time ago before I ever heard about carnivore is I noticed the majority of the people around me at work, family, whatever, that ended up having stents, bypass surgeries, heart attacks. The majority of them were all skinny people. People that have appeared to be healthy all their lives because they were skinny. And we know that skinny don't mean you're healthy. And in fact, there's even a term called the skinny fat, meaning, of course, that, they're skinny, but, inside they're fat. It just doesn't show. And so we've got to understand that just because somebody is skinny doesn't mean that they're healthy by any stretch.
All right, and we want to welcome Scott to the screen. How you doing today?
All right. How about you guys?
Very good. Glad you could join us. Are you covertly working at the same time as you're streaming?
No, I'm actually off. We've been dipping dogs all day today, cleaning up the kennel yard and everything. So both me and my dogs are flea and tick free right now.
All right. Good. Good. All right. Glad to hear you don't have any fleas.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since you joined and it's 8:30, I just do want to bear repeating that anyone who's watching, this is a roundtable discussion and there's room for 10 people on this screen. And so if you have a webcam and a little bit of courage and the link, and what link is that? It's the link I'm about to post in the chat right now. You can click on that link and you can join us on screen and take part in this discussion this evening as we talk about a variety of subjects that usually revolve around a carnivore-centric diet. We'd love to have you here. Of course, if you just want to stay in the chat, that's just fine too. And we'll turn our attention to the chat in just a moment. But being live, if it's something that makes you nervous, it's just like a Zoom call. If you've ever done that, the difference is this is recorded and publicly available. And then if you have your own YouTube channel and you're a little nervous about getting started doing lives, this is a good way to start. And you can join this, and then you have the option to rebroadcast it if you like on your own channel as well. So come join us. We would love to have you here and hear about your successes, your story, your struggles on the carnivore diet as well. So Scott, how was your 4th of July weekend?
I worked all weekend. I went in on Friday, Saturday, Sunday was my scheduled weekend. So 12, 13-hour shifts. That weekend turns into just, I have what I call night shift, day shift, and off. No other days on the calendar, no other holidays on the calendar, just nights, days, and off.
All right, so it was just another day for you.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you didn't have to put up with any family get-togethers or being infiltrated with carbs or anything like that. Okay.
Yeah, it was. I think it was Saturday. Friday was a bowl of ribeye, and Saturday another bowl of ribeye, and then on Sunday I think it was pork loin. So that was no carbs. All meat.
Right. We have a question for you. We'll turn our attention to the chat here, but we'll start with this most recent one. Kitchen Witch wants to know, where is Scott from?
North Carolina, right up close to the Virginia line along at Carr Lake.
Okay. All right. Very nice. You know, me and my wife, we often dream about relocating to North Carolina, and we kind of eyeball the Raleigh area. And there's a couple reasons. Like, one, the business I'm in construction, I know there's a lot of development down there, and I think I could go down there and find work right away. And also it's hilly, kind of like Ohio, so the landscape's familiar. But there's, instead of 8 months of bad weather and four months of good, you have 8 months of good and 4 months of bad. You know, so it's a little better down there in North Carolina than it is here in Ohio. And then I like that if I moved to a Raleigh suburb, I would be 3 hours from both my favorite beaches, which is Virginia Beach and Myrtle Beach. You know, so I could always do a 1-tank trip on a Saturday and spend a day at the beach, get some dinner, and be back in my bed at that night. So yeah,
you can. I mean, the Raleigh-Durham area, the Research Triangle Park there, it's growing as fast as it's ever grown. I mean, it's huge. Development's going up. Construction work is probably booming right now with all the growth, complexes and everything being built. Yeah, it's huge. And yeah, you're right. You're 3 hours from the mountains, 3 hours from the beach. And, you know, if you go to Virginia Beach or Myrtle Beach, but if you go right in the middle, Emerald Isle, Carolina Beach, Atlantic Beach, they blow those other two beaches out of the water. So you get the beach, but plus you get the hometown effect of small town beach life. Pretty cool.
All right. Have you always been in North Carolina?
Yes, sir.
All right. Very good. All right. We'll go rewind on the chat a little bit. We were talking about chili earlier, and how it's a pure carnivore diet has made it intolerable for Geoff. And then I haven't had any actually in the last 2 years, but I would be willing to try since I'm only 97% strict. So, all right. But then someone brought up meatless chili, all veggies and no cattle. All
That's
right.
the Texas saying right there. All hat, no cattle. He just modified it, and it's a good one.
And then we were talking about glucose spikes. It's more the area under the curve than flattened spikes. Yes, thank you. And then here's a good question. Because we're talking about people that can eat carbs with no seeming effect. Do you think our DNA ancestry matters as far as what works for us?
Absolutely. 100%.
Yes,
I
absolutely. And and here's kind of like just a general generic way I like to kind of explain why I think it matters. And I always use, I got this from Dr. Barry, so it's not original. I'm completely stealing this. But he has a video that talks, it's literally, the thumbnail says, your DNA might matter. And he gives the example of him and his wife, Nisha. So Nisha is a ketovore. She's not strict carnivore. Whereas Dr. Barry is a mostly strict carnivore, kind of like myself. Okay. And if he's going to cheat, he cheats with keto. And but he says that, you know, if he's so much as looks at a carb, he has the tendency to gain weight. And I'm kind of the same way. And so the way he explains it is his ancestry, his lineage traces back to northern tribes where they did not have a long exposure or a long harvest season, and so they had to hunt for most of their food over the thousands of years, and that's where he comes from. Whereas his wife comes from a lineage that traces back down towards the equator, where they're exposed to more crops and agriculture and fruits year round, and so that's why she can tolerate a higher carb limit and more variety, and it doesn't affect her weight wise, but he can't, you know. And so, you know, she has a little more, I hate to call it food freedom, but food allowance. You know, she has a little more food allowance than Dr. Berry does. And he says that's why. It's because of their DNA is at play here. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, a simple and more common explanation would be, look at those who are lactose intolerant versus those who can drink milk. You know, it's already been said that those who came from a as you put it, tribal region where milk was considered a food, if that's your ancestry, then odds are you'll be able to handle milk, which my ancestry is German and Scandinavian, therefore big milk drinkers, big cheese eaters. So cheese eater has a different connotation, doesn't it? Anyhow, well, I used to be a union boy, so it's not a word you use lightly. But anyhow, they, I can handle dairy with no problems. But you take somebody that was raised like in the tropics where meat was not, or where milk was not used as a food, yeah, they're going to be intolerant.
And here's a good comment here. Dr. O'Mara would say not to trust your thin body to be a sign of good health. Absolutely. So there are plenty of thin people. They're type 2 diabetics, So that's just one example. There's plenty of thin people like myself that has chronic kidney disease, or hypertension or whatnot. So yeah, so just because you're thin does not necessarily equate that you are healthy.
Nope.
No. The A1C level at which insignificant damage is done is 5.2. That is the average glucose level of 97 milligrams per deciliter. I didn't know that. So I think my A1C hovers around 5.1. So usually whenever I get my glucose tested, it's first thing in the morning, and it's usually like 104 to 109. And I think that's just the dawn effect. So, all right. And there's that link. If you're watching and you want it on, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, and you want to pop in here and say hi, come on down. We answered that already. Hi, Alexis. Good to have you here. I didn't know Tom was doing a live in the evening. I know he does them in the morning. But welcome aboard. If you want to jump on this one, you're more than welcome to. All right. Let's see here. I could live there. My son did, but now he is in the UK. All right. And then we have a bunch of greetings here. All right. Chat is getting lively. Very nice. Here we go. Rockin' Keto Amy says, day 2, strict carnivore today from 7 years of ketovore. Feel great already. Awesome. Yeah, that's
Wonderful.
Great. Yeah. And and if you've been 7 years of strict ketovore, this transition should probably be pretty easy for you. So, because at least from the definition of ketovore that I'm used to, which is either one of two definitions, is either under 10 grams of carbs a day, or it is, hold on, I heard someone's trying to join. Here we go. Let me put her on the screen. It's either 10 carbs or less a day,
Hi, guys.
or it could be 1/4 of your plate is veg and the other 3/4 of your plate are fatty red meat. So that's usually the two definitions I hear. So, hi, Lexi. How are you doing today?
Good. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. How are you?
Good. Glad to hear you're happy. How's your carnivore journey doing?
It's going great. I'm almost to 30 days.
Almost
I
to
think
30 days. Yeah.
July
Congrats.
10th it'll be 30 days. So I'm excited.
One day
I'm
at a
gonna make a
time.
video.
Yeah. You say you made another video
I'm going to make a video on the 30-day mark.
on your 30-day. Okay. So how many videos you have at the moment?
Just 2. I've only
2.
been making videos for a few weeks now.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So and your why for doing carnivore was for mental health, right?
My schizophrenia, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And you're seeing good
And
results.
my symptoms have decreased by about 80% since starting
Awesome.
carnivore.
Awesome. Very good. So yeah. So anyone who's here watching, go over and visit Lexi's channel. And what's the username over there? I'm subscribed, but
It's Lexus Jones 1126.
Lexus, I'm going to try Lexus Jones for starters. All right, so it shows up. Okay, yeah, so it's at Lexus Jones. We'll put it down here in the chat
Thank you.
because it can be hard to find. Is that going to post? Yeah, it posted. Okay. All right. Yeah. So go over there and check out Lexi's channel and her 2 videos and see how this has been benefiting her.
Give her a like and subscribe.
Absolutely.
Thank
Carnivore
you.
Cash says, I'm from Minnesota. Don't have my cheaters, so I can't read the chat. Listening while I work. Oh, okay. All right. Well, glad you're here, Carnivore Cash. And
I'm from Minnesota too.
yeah. And enjoy working. You're from Minnesota also.
Mm-hmm.
All right, very good. All right, so we're representing North Carolina, Texas, Minnesota, Ohio, and Meathead. And let's see here. The carnivore. You're not carnivore police today, are you? You're. It doesn't matter. It's Kurt or Kurt. It doesn't matter. And that's what it is today. All right, very good. Oh, let's see here. My dog is a carnivore cheater. Eats with me, but is stealing cat food.
Yeah, but
Is it
didn't cat food meat?
Is it the dry cat food? Because the canned cat food is actually mostly meat, mostly protein. It's actually the canned cat food's healthier for a cat. It's the dry cat food that's been mixed with some grains that they're really not equipped to well, I mean, they can eat it obviously as cat food, and they've been eating it now for like 100 years, but it's not good for them. If your cat gets fat, it's probably because you have dry cat food in that dish nonstop. And your cat would fare better if you just portioned it some canned food a couple times a day. All right. So Rockin' Keto Amy says, I lost.
Yeah, I got
4
barn
pounds.
cats.
Yeah.
They got to earn their
cats?
keep.
Or are they just barn cats?
No, I got barn cats.
Barn cats.
They got to earn their keep.
I've got an indoor cat.
We feed them a little canned cat food, but that's just a little. They want anything more than that, they got to go out and hunt.
They got to go hunt it. Yeah. All right. Then that's probably why you have them too. Keep the critters out of that barn.
Exactly.
So Amy says, I lost 4 pounds of inflammation overnight. It was all water, but was causing severe joint pain. Yeah. I could barely walk the last few days, and I'm already feeling better. Yeah, absolutely. So that initial weight, a lot of initial weight is water weight that comes off, but even that makes a difference. So very good. Glad you're feeling better. That is awesome. I'm enjoying replacing the cheese with butter. All right. Yeah, very good. Wait till you discover brown butter bites. They are very delicious and addictive. And I'm still a cheese person, though. Is everybody else here still a cheese person?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No cheese for Kurt. I see him shaking his head. And then
a little, not a lot.
And the rest of us.
I got to keep it moderated. But I had some aged Spanish cheese earlier today.
Yeah, I don't know how moderated my cheese is, but it's more moderated than it was before. I used to really go to town with it, and then my phosphorus levels got too high because of my kidney disease.
Right.
So I had to back off of it. But I
have to moderate it just because it's highly addictive to me. I want to eat it all the time.
Yeah.
And so what I'm doing now, instead of buying just normal cheeses, I like to buy more exotic cheeses. They're a little bit more expensive, different flavor, different taste, and I'm more inclined to eat those moderately, just because of the expense.
All right. Lexus says my A1C was 5.6 a few years ago and is now 5.0.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that is
Nice.
exactly what we would expect. That's what we would expect to see in most cases, is that trend to go down. Although some people, they see their A1Cs tick up a little bit. You know that on carnivore? So, but that's usually not something to worry about. Because have you heard why that might happen?
Gluconeogenesis?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to be very sensitive to protein.
Yeah, so part of it could be, gluconeogenesis. The other part of it could be, they say that now that you are giving your body the nutrition it requires, your red blood cells may live longer than that average 30 days. And so they have more time to glycate. And since they have more time to glycate and they're living longer than, is it 30 days? 3 months, 90 days. I'm sorry, 90. It's a 3-month snapshot. They're living longer than 3 months. And so it's picking up more glycation. So it's kind of like a false alarm, if you see the A1C tick up a little bit. But you know what the vegans and the vegetarians and the modern medicine people do? They see that go up, and what do they assume then? They assume
Causes diabetes.
Oh my God, red meat causes diabetes.
Pre-diabetic.
That's not what's going on. But it's ironic that they can't figure that out. That's not. It's not. Yeah, how can red meat cause diabetes? It's impossible. So
People only see what they want to see.
yeah, that is true. Either because that's what they were taught, or some people are always just looking to confirm their biases. No. Usually when I get severe joint pain, I accidentally ate something bad or with gluten, usually unintentional. Yes. Okay. Yeah. No, that'll happen. That's you learn real quick what you can't eat when you eat something off plan and it affects you in a negative way. For some people, that's actually what they look for. They look for that inflammation or that joint pain to return, and they're like, then they document, then they remember back, like, well, what did I eat recently? And then they might test it again just to verify it, and then they know, okay, that's a food that I want to avoid.
For me, it's usually my mood or psychosis. I'll notice goes up if I eat something I shouldn't. Or irritability.
I spread butter on my cold burger patty. I call it my frosted cookie.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
So well done. I eliminated cheese, but still allow butter and heavy cream. Well, I gobbled heavy cream today, man. I made some Kilsa's ice cream. And when I came home from work, I consumed the whole thing. But I put allulose in it. And so that caused me some stomach upset. I know a lot of you are perfectly okay with allulose, but I bought some, and every time I try and try something with allulose, I get summoned to the bathroom, and it doesn't want to let me loose. So, all right, I'm cutting cheese for 30 days to see if it inflames me. All right, let us know how that goes. HbA1c kits are now at my local grocery store. Lay things out and understand the instructions before doing it. Oh, that's interesting. Do you have to mail that in? Or does it give you a result right there? I'm just curious. And because I wouldn't have thought to buy like a kit at the store. I always just go to ownyourlabs.com and order my own blood test because they are dirt cheap. And then you take that blood, they'll email you an order, and you take it down to LabCorp and have LabCorp draw your blood. It
must be something you can do at home, like the test that we can't talk about that happened a few years ago. Because I personally know someone who has had their A1C. We go to the doctor's office, and they had their A1C checked, and 5 minutes later they have the result. All right, everybody, plug your ears. He was talking about COVID. Oh! I'm not afraid to say it.
He's not monetized yet. It ain't going to hurt him.
Well, I am monetized, but
I was referring to the plandemic, not the pandemic, the plandemic.
The pandemic. That's cute. All right. I subbed number 53. Oh, that's to you, Lexi.
Nice.
Yep. That's probably a reference to, yeah, because it says 53. All right, so there's number 3. There's number 53. Number 53 is Latro. Latro,
Yay.
meet Lexi.
Thanks,
Lexi,
Latro.
Lexi, meet Latro. All right. Yeah, and you have the personality to do this. So yeah, there
Thank you.
Ah. I'm putting butter on everything. Only ate 2 meals today, 2 hard-boiled eggs at noon. Then dinner was 4 pieces of bacon, 5 eggs, 1 burger patty with butter on everything. That was 3 p.m. All right, very good.
Dang, I'd starve on that.
Yeah. No, I was thinking the same thing. I started my day. My son's working with me now, and we went to a Sheetz, and I got a sugar-free lemonade, and I got a pack of hard-boiled eggs because I didn't cook at home. And I got like a stick of pepper jack cheese. I ate that, and that was like at 9:30, and by noon, man, I was like, "Hey, let's go to lunch," because I was starving. It wasn't enough for me. So, but that dinner sounds hard.
I tried grass-fed butter for the first time today, and it was so good. Oh my goodness. I didn't even melt it. I just it was salted. I cut it up and had it with my bites of pork ribs, the boneless pork ribs. So good. Oh my gosh. First time, Irish butter.
Yeah, I've done that before. I bought some Kerrygold, and yeah, I think I mostly just ate it straight rather than used it for cooking. Because then I have got like the Sam's Club butter that's cheap, like way cheaper. And I honestly, it's pretty much just the same thing. I know the grass fed is going to have a little better nutritional profile, but and then down at Duma Meats, they've got some Amish butter that comes in these rolls in a paper wrapper, with a sticker on it, and that stuff's really good too. And I can literally cut that butter by the slice and eat it. And I don't want to mess with it. I want to turn it into butter bites. I don't want to do anything with it. Like I just enjoy that as pure butter,
I still buy the cheap stuff. I tried the Kerrygold, and in fact, my wife even did a taste test with me. She brought me out 2 pats and taste one, cleanse my mouth out, taste the other. And she said, "Which one's Kerrygold?" And I was able to point it out. There was a definite taste difference and even a definite texture difference. I could tell the difference. But it wasn't enough for me to spend the extra money to buy it. I enjoyed it. I liked it. But I wasn't going to spend the extra money. I still buy the cheap stuff. As long as the label says it's made from straight cream, I'm good with it.
The only reason why I tried the grass-fed butter is because regular butter was giving me acne if I had too much of it. So I just wanted to try the grass-fed.
And that's a perfect example why some people need it, because it's like eggs, beef, whatever. Some people are going to need it cleaner than others because they're going to react to it. So you got to do what you got to do. I'm fortunate I don't react to that stuff, so I can still eat it.
Yeah, same boat. I think you become so individualistic on this thing. It's what works for you may not work for me, and I think there's 1,000 different ways to get there, but the object is to get there. So yeah, if it's grass fed, great. I buy the cheap stuff as well. Try the other stuff. My wife will buy it, and it tastes great, but like I said, for me, regular old butter is regular old butter.
Yeah.
Carnivore Cash says, "I'm Red Wing. Where is Lexus? Is that a Minnesota reference?"
It is. I live in the Twin Cities. I don't want to say which city, but
no, absolutely, yeah, no, but that's okay. Keep your privacy. That's fine. But yeah, all right, very good. You got a sub over there as well. All right, and then Rock and Amy says she's already subscribed to you. Grandma says, "My dog turns his face away if I offer him anything that isn't right." What's interesting is the animals know. I've heard it before. Like if the rats and the mice won't eat it, then why are you? I am an indoor cat. All right. So I will add cheese back after 30 days, but I'm addicted to it, so I want to see how I feel without it. This is a strict elimination for me right now. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I did it too. I eliminated cheese for about 30 days, and it was okay. I actually, when I added it back, I actually personally felt better. So, it was interesting because they say more fat, looser stools, right? Less fat, more constipation. And I eliminated cheese, but when I eliminated cheese, I actually had problems with the looser stools. And when I added cheese back, then everything would turn to normal. So I don't know why it kind of flies against that advice, but that's what happened in my case. So I still keep cheese in my diet.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
I've heard that cheese is a natural constipator. So
Yep.
Binder.
a binder, yeah. Cabot white cheddar is my favorite. And yes, always reminding me. You always come through, man. Thank you, my brother. Hit that like button. I never ask for that. I never think to ask for that. Yes, hit the like button. Share this video if you have a place where that you think it would be share worthy in your social media, on your profiles or whatever. That would be awesome. If you're on screen, or if you want to join us on screen, actually, we just had Rick show up at right on time. By the way, he shows up at 9 o'clock, and so this night's moving pretty fast. And so since it's 9 o'clock, I just want to remind everybody that this is a roundtable discussion that does have room for 10. So we have 6 on the screen right now. There's room for 4 more. I got 4 empty seats, and you can be on the screen too. All you have to do is click the link that's in the chat, or the link that's posted in the members only section at carnivore-talk.com, and I'll repost that link in a moment. So you can join with a webcam and share your carnivore story, or just join in this idle discussion that we're having. Nice and casual, very informal. We're all friends here, and we're all like-minded, and that's a really good thing here. So I'm going to post the link.
So I actually have to get going. I have to take my nighttime meds and then go to bed. But it was so nice talking to you guys.
Glad you joined us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, I accidentally just posted the link to Lexi's channel again, so you can go ahead and click that. Now here comes the link to the StreamYard. And you can click on that. All right, very good. So let's talk to Rick for a bit. So it's 9 o'clock. Welcome. I'm sure you're squeaky clean. And
yes.
You must be, because your cat has not tried to run from you yet.
No, just the opposite. When I get back home, I take my bath. The first thing he's got to do is get all over me.
Mm-hmm. He's there to dry you off. Actually, he's there to love on you because he hasn't seen you in a while.
That's the thing. He's something else.
All right. How have you been?
Oh, not bad. I mean, I did kind of break a record for a live stream on Saturday.
I was going to say, because I went to work in the afternoon, and then when I left work to come back home, I opened up YouTube because I drive listening to YouTube, and you were the first one to pop up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is he still at it? And sure enough, you were. And so that's why I made the comment, like, breaking records today, and then I drove. I think you ended up shutting it down while I was on my drive home. But is that the record? Is that official now?
9.5 hours. I don't think I've gone any longer than that.
9.5 hour live stream. All right. Very good. Saturdays 8 with Rick. So if you're listening here and you've got time on Saturday, I guess it could be anytime Saturday, because he's always he's always doing his stream.
That's it.
There's a 9-hour window. You can jump in whenever you wake up. Whenever you wake up, whenever you come home, he's probably still streaming on Saturday.
Next Saturday should be pretty interesting if I do get that special guest I'm supposed to get.
I sure hope you get your special guest. I need to make a point of paying close attention to that particular one all day, or throughout the day at least.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Very good. All right. Did you have a long weekend?
It's like any other weekend.
Okay, no different for you. No family get-togethers with them carrying over trays of carbs to wave in front of you and try and tempt you or nothing.
I have no family. I mean, I have a few friends, but no, people I know went out of town. And besides, they know that if they bring me any carbs, it's going to go straight to the canal.
Right.
No.
To the ducks.
To the ducks. I'll go to the canal. I'll feed it to the ducks. And it's funny because some things the ducks won't even eat. You know, I was just talking. I think I mentioned that to Thomas in his live stream. He said he threw a McDonald's bun to the seagulls and they wouldn't eat it. And I was laughing because I had thrown McDonald's buns to the ducks. They would take a nip out of it and then throw it back. They didn't want it.
They weren't loving it.
No.
Animals be smarter than us.
But you know, the funny thing is when I was a kid and you went to McDonald's, you would always give stuff to the ducks. They'd eat anything. They'd eat the fries. They'd eat the buns. But now they don't even eat the buns. So it tells you that stuff is pretty bad.
Yeah, we used to buy white bread and go feed the ducks with it. So, but now the McDonald's buns, who knows what those are?
Well, that's it. I mean, that may not even be bread. It might be some chemical concoction.
But the ducks were like, but up. Okay. All right, back to the chat here. Cheese is my weakness, but I'm a no cheese eater. But I'm no cheese eater, Geoff. All right.
Yep. She ain't no rat.
Never been excited over cheese, but Manchego, Gruyere, etc. are very nice. All right, thumbs up. Yes, hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. I don't eat cheese, but don't eat as much as I did on keto and early carnivore. I love cheese, but she's scaled back. Okay, yeah, obviously. All right, very good. Yellow cheddar is white cheddar plus a little annatto seed. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. You know, we were talking last week or the week before about how American cheese is not cheese. It's a cheese-like product, especially the ones that come wrapped up as singles or the ones that they serve at the fast food restaurants. But you can get American cheese that's not individually wrapped, and they call it deluxe or deli, and that's actually like the real deal. And but don't get the individually wrapped stuff if you're the American cheese kind of person. And if you're the American cheese kind of person, then try some other cheeses and broaden your palate, because there are a lot of good cheeses out there. All right.
American cheese is the most disgusting thing they ever made.
True.
All right. I find an interesting cheese. I'll try it, but normally I don't eat or crave cheese. Okay. Gluconeogenesis doesn't load you up as much as a single cookie. Oh, you're absolutely right. And because I think gluconeogenesis takes place on an as-needed basis, you know. So if you don't need glucose, there's not going to be any gluconeogenesis taking place, you know. But if you need glucose, then some gluconeogenesis will take place. So, but when you eat a cookie, it's got to be handled. I have friends who are suffering with stomach issues and they're doing the brat diet. I just want to yell at the top of my lungs, carnivore elimination diet. Yeah, brat, that's something rice, applesauce, and toast, right?
Yeah.
Beans? Is it beans, rice, applesauce, and toast? What's the B? I can't remember. Tell me what it is.
I thought that would be sausages.
No, not brats. But if they were eating brats, that'd be okay. But no, they're eating the brat diet. All right. And then Sharon says her A1C has ticked up from 5.4 to 5.7. And just remind us, are you doing a strict carnivore diet? I could scroll up and try and find that. But that could be exactly what we were talking about. We got the little bit of gluconeogenesis taking place. More than likely, it's the red blood cells live longer, so they glycate longer. And there's a lot of good videos out there on that subject. You'll see videos by Dr. Barry, Nutrition with Judy. I think Ben Bickman has a video where he describes this process too. All right. 5.1, that's where mine was. I think I've only checked it once in the last 2 years. So No mail-in. Timer counts down and then gives the answer. You're talking about the at-home A1C kit. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you. It is frustrating when people won't listen, especially when it's like you know what you know could help certain individuals. I've got family members, multiple illnesses, weight issues, and I'm like talking about keto, carnivore, and they immediately kick back. Well, you got to have carbs to live, and it's like, no, you don't. And they countered with like, well, there's trace carbs in everything, and there's carbs in everything, even meat. And okay, so that is technically true. There's a trace carb here and there, but the point is like we know for a scientific fact that carbs are not essential. If you have a trace carb from eating some muscle meat, it's not really. It's the trace means nothing. So it's not like that trace is keeping you alive. It's the fat and the protein that's keeping you alive. I've learned to tread carefully and not be too in your face with this lifestyle. The kit gives you a chance to do it without having to discuss it with a local statin pusher. That is true. Yep. And that's why I like the also with the Own Your Labs, because the lab report goes to the doctor and whoever fills out the order in some state, wherever, who's part of this Own Your Labs thing, which I think that's a partnership with Dave Feldman too. I think he's part owner in that. So they get the data, and I think they get it anonymously, but you get your results in your LabCorp account, so you can run all your own tests without ever having to tell your doctor. Unless you come across one that concerns you, and then of course you might want to bring it up with your doctor. So it's not that doctors are all evil, but I'm the lead the horse to water. If it don't drink, kick it harder. Let's see here. I may have a few pats of cold butter while I was cooking my meal. I waited too long. Yes, Carrie Gold. All right. I recently bought Sam's Club butter, so I buy that all the time, by the way. I just don't like you have to quarter it yourself and there's no measurement on it. Oh, that's odd because the kind that I buy is in quarters, and the wrapper does have the tablespoon measurements on it. So that's interesting. My Sam's Club is sold in the Maker's Mark butter is sold in quarters. I haven't seen one that's like an actual log. That's interesting that you say that because for me it looks like normal butter that I've always seen.
Why would anybody have to measure butter?
Maybe for recipe.
Well,
so
I've never seen a need to measure it. You just put on there whatever fits.
Yeah, well, you're usually cooking meat, so you just slap some in there and throw your meat on it, and we're good. Then put the meat on the plate, take the butter, pour it over the meat, and eat it. So I'm on dinner number 2. Oh, Caitlin, the bariatric carnivore. Welcome to the chat. I'm on dinner number 2. I just finished a plate of flanken ribs and was still hungry. Now I'm having ribeye. I've noticed that if I eat breakfast right after I get up, I'm so much hungrier at dinner. That continues. And yeah, I don't know. I'm happy with 2 meals a day. I don't care if it's 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. or if it's noon and 7 p.m. So, and I often eat 3 meals a day too. So, but yeah, and you're a 3 meals a day kind of guy.
Always have been.
Yeah, Rick loves to eat. He says forget that fasting nonsense.
I call that starving.
All right.
I just don't get hungry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't either.
Well, of course you don't. You eat 3 meals a day.
I keep the tank full. If I keep the tank full, it'll never go empty.
I generally just eat once a day. Now I did eat twice today because I was doing a bunch of running around. Had to go about an hour and a half south of where I live to go look at some property. And then I ate again when I got back home, because it was much later in the day, and I was still hungry, so I ate a second time just because I didn't eat enough the first time. But yeah, I'll generally eat 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of meat at one sitting, and I'm not going to be hungry again for a good 24 hours.
Lisa does the Kirkland butter, and Kurt says the grass-fed butter from Kirkland is just as good as the Kerrygold. And yeah, that could be. I still need to check out a Costco. Sam's is right down the street. Costco's kind of a further drive, so that's why I never go in there. But I hear so many good things about Costco. Had a friend tell me that she had too much going on to try and see if it works. Yeah, this is what people do. They make excuses. Uh-oh. Quack. Quack.
Right.
All right. So when's the last time you had duck?
Oh, it's been a while. I think the last time I had duck was back in February.
And you just go outside and catch one?
Oh, that was a roadkill duck. I
A
was
roadkill
riding
duck?
my bike. Yeah, the head was run over, and it wasn't, no flies were on it, so I grabbed it and plucked it and gutted it out and cooked it up that night.
All right. Must have been a fresh kill.
Yeah, it wasn't as good. It wasn't like the ducks the way I prepare them. This meat was kind of earthy. It didn't have a good flavor.
Mhm.
Normally, if you catch the duck and you feed them for at least a month, then you get the really good duck flavor.
Oh, you feed them mangoes? You can have mango duck?
Mangoes, yeah, they love bananas, any kind of tropical fruit, even bits of sugar cane, all that stuff. They'll gobble that up. Suriname cherries, loquats, whatever's in season. Just keep feeding it to them. Palm berries, and you just keep fattening them up. You give them a little bit of bread now and then, and corn or whatever else you find. But the tropical fruit, that's the key. It gives the meat a really nice texture and a really good flavor.
And then I was just curious, is it legal to go down to the canal and catch yourself a duck?
Well, they're invasive, so they're not regulated by the state. They're not wildlife. They're considered to be feral.
Mm-hmm.
They're not native to Florida.
Okay, so they're free game.
Yeah, same thing with the iguanas and the parking lot chicken.
Mm-hmm. All right. Very good. Up here in Ohio, there's all kinds of rules and regulations. You can only hunt certain things during certain months of the year, and
so that's the way it is, and it's the way it is in most places. But like he's saying, it's feral. It's an invasive species. Like here in Texas, we don't have to have a license to hunt pigs. There's no season. There's no limit. You can take as many as you want. Ringneck dove, there's no limit on them. They're an invasive species. You can take them anytime you want. So yeah, we have our critters like that where we don't have limits. But anything that is native is considered owned by the state, so the state controls it, and we can only take so many. We have a lot of game ranches down here, and when the exotic animals get out, they're free game to anybody that wants them. Down in South Texas, they've been overrun with axis deer that were brought in and escaped. And axis deer is one of the best meats you could ever eat. It's fantastic, tremendously good eating. But yeah, one comes in your backyard and it's legal for you to hunt on your own land. You can take it anytime you want.
That's it.
all right. So we know Geoff is an avid hunter. Rick, sounds like you're a part-time hunter.
Yeah.
And Scott, you do any hunting?
A little. We have the same feral pig issue that Texas has. They spread so fast, they breed so fast, and they can trash a field out overnight. I mean, you can plant today and have it ruined tomorrow. And so yeah, they're considered feral and invasive, and you can take as many as you want when you want. No season, no license required. We don't have them as bad, where I live, but down east, but they're just spreading. They'll be all over the state in a few years, So just like Texas, I mean, I'm sure it started off in one spot. Now it's just about the whole state. So you can.
Yeah, we have a saying about them that a sow will have a litter of 10 piglets and 15 of them will survive.
Exactly. Yep.
We used to have them here, not anymore.
They're faster than rabbits.
We don't have them anymore because we don't have any empty land anymore. It's all built up.
Yeah.
All right. So I just did a quick search on what animals can you hunt year round in Ohio. And this was the AI response from Microsoft Bing or Copilot or whatever. It says possum, red squirrel, gray squirrel, weasel, porcupine, raccoon, woodchuck, and skunk can be taken year round if they are about to cause damage to private land. That's just interesting. You can always just say it was about to cause damage to my land. Wild boar and woodchucks or groundhogs. I didn't even know there was wild boar in Ohio. Coyotes may be hunted and trapped year round unless otherwise prohibited by division rule. I don't know. I didn't know if people would eat a coyote.
No, they won't, but they will trap them for the hides.
Just watch out for the roadrunner.
But the thing is, if you're going to go after a fur-bearing animal like a coyote for hides, you can't do it in a spring or summer. You got to do it in the wintertime when their hides are the thickest or the fur is the best.
Mm-hmm.
So what animals can be here year round? Oh, so it even says rabbit, coyotes, wild hog, squirrel, raccoons, beaver, and crow. That's winter. Fun summer hunts would be squirrels, prairie dogs, pheasants,
Squirrel,
coyotes, wild hogs, and woodchucks.
Squirrel's good stuff.
fried squirrel's tasty.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Go to my friend's avocado and mango grove and go squirrel hunting.
A guy that lives near us, he invited me to go squirrel hunting once. We get there and I'm like, I start to take out my rifle. I mean, we do it with a 22 or 410. He goes, "Oh no, just put that up. We'll walk." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Victor rat traps. He had a piece of 5/4 board on the squirrel on a tree with a Victor rat trap on it, baited with peanut butter. And I mean, every fourth, fifth tree, there's a squirrel. And I mean, it was like he gets them about a 5-gallon bucket, at a time. And I'm like, he said, "Never fire a shot."
I tried that out at my place, and the coons kept getting in them.
Yeah,
the squirrels
I had too much. Coons kept setting them off.
They never gets the squirrels here. You got to shoot them because they like the mangoes better than that.
Well, back to our butter discussion. Linda Flanagan says that she likes making butter. So that's interesting.
Oh, Milton.
And yeah, we even have a comment here that says, "Hi, Milton." From Kurt. All right. Let's see here. Hello from Izzy. Welcome to the chat. Joining us from another channel. You're probably restreaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Very good.
Milton, yes.
I learned that when they have a little link by their picture here, that they're coming from a foreign source.
Look at those teeth.
I keep looking for Rick in the chat. He's a screen. Has Milton found a girlfriend cat yet?
I hope not. Don't need more kitty cats. Look at that.
Kitchen Witch gets eye rolls from mom and her sisters. Yeah, I get that. So my immediate family has become supportive, as in my wife and kids, but my extended family, my mom and dad, my dad's cool. My mom's curious. Almost can't believe that I only eat meat. And then everybody else just thinks I'm nuts. So Cabot makes a tasty habanero cheddar. That sounds delicious.
Sounds good.
Yeah. My oldest daughter says all of us carnivores are lying. You know, that's funny. Well, about anything. It could be lying about the health benefits or whatnot, or reversing disease. It's just like, you know, we're talking there's tens of thousands of testimonies now out there that are published, whether they're published in literature, published on YouTube, published in podcasts. And there's zero motivation to lie, because like, who am I? Okay. You know, I'm just some dude in Ohio that lost a bunch of weight and reversed some diseases, and I'm excited about it. And I did so with the carnivore diet, but I am not selling any supplements, any products. You know, I don't care if you come on here and we post the link for free. You know, you come over to the website for free. So it's like, and that's the case with most people that have done carnivore and benefited from it. They are just happy to, almost like preaching the gospel. They're happy to share the good news with others free of charge, you know, and there's no alternate agenda. So my oldest daughter says that all of us carnivores are lying. About what and why?
What
I mean,
would,
really
yeah,
think
what
this
would be the
through.
purpose?
Yeah, lying is such a strong word for me, but I will say when I first started, as I got posted it before, I came in blind. My son did it, and he said, you just eat meat and drink water. So that's all I did. I had no actually idea there was any medical benefit other than just the weight loss going in. And as I started reading videos 2 to 3 weeks in, reading and watching videos, like I've said before, you know, I'm a naysayer by heart. You know, you have to show me. I just can't, you know, I have to see it. And, you know, when I would watch a video and someone had something like multiple sclerosis or a heart issue or something, and then they ate some food and all of a sudden they're healthy again and these things are going away. It's not that they're lying, but at times it can be hard to believe until you get on board. And then, you know,
And experience it for yourself.
Exactly. And so,
Yeah.
like, you know, I was taking prednisone and gabapentin, Neurontin for my neuromyelitis, and it was like I take it when I need it because I couldn't take it all the time because, especially the Neurontin, it turned me into like a zombie. You know, I could eat one and I'd be, you know, just damn near incapacitated for 6 hours, and so I would just took them when I needed them, and then I was sitting in watching a video. I forget the lady's name, her MS video. And I'll be honest, I was like, yeah, right, you know, whatever. And then I go, you know, I hadn't taken my medicine this week. And then I was like, And then just a coincidence. So I'm on the carnivore 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. And around 5 or 6 weeks, I'm watching more videos out here in the cabin. And I'm like, man, she might be onto something because I haven't taken my medicine. I haven't needed anything for inflammation, anything for pain in 4 or 5 weeks. And I've been on it for 4 or 5 years. And then I was like, might be something to this. So then as I started reading, researching, and I think by June or so, I came onto this channel and just started seeing so many other people having the same thing. I had no earthly idea that it's tens or, you know, thousands upon thousands of people doing the same thing and getting a lot of the same results. And so it was an eye opener for me. I mean, I would never come out even in the beginning, I wouldn't say carnivores are lying, but I mean, I had my doubts. I'll be perfectly honest. And now, you know, with that personal experience, you know, I'm a true believer, and I'm not, you know, standing on the rooftop screaming, but I'm about halfway up going, hey, you guys better pay attention because this is the easiest way to get healthy. It sounds difficult, meat, salt, water, but it is extremely easy to get healthy. And, you know, you can ditch your doctors. You know, I'm not saying ditch them totally, but you can get away from your medicines. You can get away from, you know, chronic issues and just and be overall healthier. And the only thing you're doing is changing your diet. I mean, and that's a huge trade-off. I mean, it's an incredible trade-off. You know, you're putting in like this much and you're getting back this much. And that's really hard to explain to people. So, I mean, it's a lot of naysayers that, like, you know, it's if it's too good to be true, a lot of times it is. But, you know, with the carnivore thing, I found out that it's too good to be true, but it's true. And so, I mean, I've been, you know, just blessed since the beginning.
Yeah, what you were describing there made me think of. There's this phrase that says like, okay, the poison is in the dose. Okay, and the reason I think of that is because you mentioned that at first you were skeptical. That would be you didn't you said you didn't want to say you thought they were lying, but you were a little skeptical. That's what you were trying to say.
Yeah.
And I think there is a little skepticism is healthy. There is a healthy dose of skepticism, because a healthy dose of skepticism will make you do the research, and investigate and educate yourself. Whereas a mega dose of skepticism will make you blow it off as nonsense, and then you won't do the research and you won't accept it, So yeah, so I was the same way when I heard about this carnivore diet. And again, I was doing keto, and I was looking for keto recipes and learning about trying to re-educate myself on keto, because I had read Atkins' book in the 90s and stuff like that. And then I was listening to Dr. Barry, and then all of a sudden his videos on carnivore start showing up in my YouTube newsfeed in the living room. And I'm like, I start watching these videos, and he's talking about how you can live on just meat. And I'm like, what? But everything I'd watched from him was solid advice so far. So I'm like, this guy's not a dummy. So I'm going to listen, and I'm going to research it. So I did. I was, it actually took me a while. So I had to watch a lot of videos and do a lot of research before I was actually willing to commit to it. And even then I was still nervous about committing to it until I actually did. So yeah. A healthy dose of skepticism is good. So yeah, we're not liars by any means. We're just excited.
What would it profit? Yeah. What would it profit me to lie? I don't have a YouTube channel. I'm not selling nothing. Right. I've had 4 interviews on YouTube, by different people, including you, Bob, and I get nothing from that. So what would it profit for me to lie? Absolutely nothing.
We're trying to corner the market on meat. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to corner the market on meat.
And I don't even have to do that because I raised my own.
There you go.
I got nothing to prove to nobody.
I don't know.
So it would be pretty stupid of me to go around having all these interviews telling my story, if it wasn't true. And I came into this not so much with skepticism, but with curiosity. My son introduced me to this when I was at the lowest of my low health-wise, and I've said it many times before. He asked me, is this going to kill you? My health, my heart condition. And I says, or is this going to kill you early, or something like that? And I said, yeah, probably. I says, but if nothing else, I'm at least at a 6 times higher risk for stroke. And he said, well, if you'll listen to me with an open mind, I'd like to tell you something about nutrition. And so I did. That's how I went into it, with an open mind. And then I did my research. I watched the videos. He turned me on to all the carnivore doctors, and I watched them, and I studied this for over a month, every day, all day long. And I decided that the best approach for me was going to be adopting the Ken Berry, what Ken Berry suggested of just give it 90 days. Anybody can do anything for 90 days. And he says, take it 30 days at a time. And so I took it 30 days at a time. And that first 30 days, I saw so much improvement that I had to go another 30 days just to see what this was all about. And by the time I hit 90 days, I was hooked. I knew there was no way I was ever going to back out of this, because it fixed 90% of everything that was wrong with me. And when I have 2 cardiologists, one of them dropped me because he said, I can't do anything else for you. You've done it all yourself. There's nothing I can do to help you anymore. And then the other one said, okay, I've taken you off all your medications. I think I just want to see you once a year for a checkup. Run an EKG and let's look at you. But other than that, I don't think you need to come in anymore unless you have any issues. You know, I'm off a CPAP machine. I don't have any breathing problems at night anymore. So, you know, and then there's 16 other different things that I've fixed. I have no reason to lie about that, but I've got a great reason to brag about it.
Yeah, that's
because it
that's
just
a great
flat
comment.
works.
Yeah, that's a great comment.
All right, it's 9:30, so I just want to remind people that this is an open forum, and there's room for 10 people to be on the screen at our roundtable discussion. We had 6 at one point. We're down to 5. It means we got room for 5 more. And so if you're watching and you would like to join us on screen, then all you have to do is click the link that I'm about to post in the comments, and it'll open up a browser window, and you'll be able to join us here on the screen, whether you're coming from Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, whether you're sitting here watching on Carnivore Talk, or if you're a guest here, courtesy of one of our on-screen guests in their stream, that, you know, we're happy to have you here, and we're glad you're here, and we'd love to have you on the screen as well. And so come check it out. Join us on screen. That's what makes this entirely fun, is this interaction. You know, and we can literally talk for hours. In fact, we broke a record last Monday. That was our longest live stream as well. And we'd love to hear your story.
Yeah, I'd like to just say that anybody out there that is skeptical or they find it a little hard to believe, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag, because this is part of my story I'm still working on. I am one of the biggest cynical skepticists out there. I am a realist. I've seen so many of these diets come and go, people selling stuff, and I've never dieted in my life until I found carnivore. That's all I can say. This is, for me, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. And if I hadn't started it, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, and there's, you know, like, don't get me wrong, you know, would I like to indulge in a lot of foods that I have now sworn off? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, I won't, you know, but, you know, I have fond memories of those foods that I used to eat and enjoy and hork down night after night, week after week. My favorite restaurants. I always had when you go to all these different restaurants, every restaurant you have that one favorite dish, and you go and you get that one every time. And, you know, yeah, so absolutely, you know, and, but I choose to do this for my health, and I'm not profiting from it. So, like, you know, I to say that we're liars, you know, is, again, just kind of nonsensical, corny, if anything.
Well, and you bring up a good point. Why, if I was lying about this, what carnivore did for me, why in the world would I restrict myself from the things I restrict myself that I like so much?
Oh yeah.
You know, I love Bluebell ice cream, and I won't eat it. You know, absolutely love that stuff. Yeah, that's you. I love ice cream, and I love Bluebell ice cream.
Yeah.
And any Texan knows that. But you know, I won't eat it. I restrict myself from it. You know, why would I do that if I was just lying? I ain't going to. I just won't touch the stuff, because all I want in my body now is what's nutritious for me, because I already know what has caused me to heal, and I don't need any setbacks. I don't want to go back to the way I was.
Yeah, that's like with me. I was eating Papa John's pizza. I was eating that 4 or 5 nights a week. I could slam down a large and a half for one meal, and that would be just a couple hours before I'd go to sleep. And I'd wake up. By the time I woke up, I'd have a cup of coffee and 2 hours later, I'd be starving. I'd feel like I was going to pass out. Why would I want to go back to that kind of life where I always felt I wasn't ready to go anywhere because I was too scared I was going to pass out because I felt like it was a sugar crash. Is exactly what it was. I didn't feel secure enough. Now, this lifestyle, what I ate tonight, that'll last me until tomorrow, 24 hours. And I can go all day. I'm bouncing off the walls full of energy. Got so many things. My mind's racing 100 mile an hour. That's why you sometimes will see me on cam, muted. I'll be staring off into space and I got other things on my mind, but I'm still listening. I'm doing like 10 things at once. All you got to do is have just a little faith. I mean, people look at your health. If you're feeling miserable now, if you have nothing good to say about life in general, what have you got to lose? Really? How worse can it get? Have you ever heard anybody getting poisoned? And I mean, I'm not talking about food poisoning, botulism. I'm talking about where they've killed themselves because they ate 2 or 3 ribeye. No. Promise you. I mean, all you got to do is just try it. You could eat hamburger. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to hurt you.
Actually, it's going to benefit you.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm the same way, and then, I'll openly admit, to eating an occasional plant once in a while. But I've also am very clear that, and the reason I do that is because someday somebody's going to spot me in public, probably eating something that's not carnivore, and they're going to post it all over social media and be like, "Oh, look at this guy. He's eating a piece of broccoli."
Hypocrite.
So I just come right out and say it, from time to time. Yes, I do eat something that's a plant, but I've made a vow never to eat refined sugar or grains ever again, unless it's my wedding anniversary. So if you see me out around mid to end December at a high-end restaurant in a suit, drinking a bottle of wine and having something that might have some grain or sugar on the plate, the reason I'm doing that is because that meal costs $200, and you bet I'm going to swallow everything that's on that plate. But outside of that, I'm mostly meat, mostly carnivore, almost 100%, most of the time. But occasionally here and there, I'm not averse to eating a natural plant once in a while. Once in a while is the key. So I could never go back to I could never eat a plant-based diet. I definitely eat a carnivore-centric or meat-based diet. And I'm going to be that way, for life. So what were you going to say, Rick?
You will never see me eat in a suit. It just doesn't happen.
I actually wear suits a lot. So I'm in my off-screen time, I'm a religious person in real life. So,
I wear a suit too, but I won't eat when I got one on.
Okay, yeah.
You've
So
seen the way I eat.
sometimes I still have mine on while I'm out.
Have you ever seen the way I eat?
Oh, so for the benefit of your suit, you don't wear it.
That is correct.
Okay.
Sometimes it's better if I eat with no shirt. That way I don't have to worry about all the animal fat.
Uh-huh. Well, maybe that's why you got to take a bath before you come onto the video chat, because you just had dinner and you've got like grease all over your body, or blood. You just like ripped apart an animal.
I get all of it, and the thing is, I don't use a knife or fork.
Hmm. Yep. So you use those claws and those sharp, pointy teeth, right?
There you go.
Because we're carnivores.
I can devour a big piece of meat. Now, I'm sure you've seen me eat on camera. It's not that uncommon.
The only person I see eat on camera actually is Kurt here. I've eaten on camera a couple times. So, all right, let's go back to the chat and do some catching up. I'm finding more people are asking me about my keto success, and my before and after pictures really draw people in. Oh, that's good. before and after pictures are good for that purpose for sure. I had 3 people ask about this lifestyle Saturday at our holiday party. Yeah, very, very nice. Yeah, the people that have known me and used to see me when I was 232 and now see me when I'm 175, you know, they're the ones that are curious and are interested in hearing how I did it.
My
And
before and after pictures don't work.
you're the guy we were talking about that can't gain weight.
I'm the one.
Yeah.
I don't change.
I have so many friends and family members that are struggling. Sandy Blythe, welcome to Carnivore Talk. Welcome to our Monday night Carnivore Chat. It's good to have you here.
Regular.
And we thank Rick for inviting you. All right.
For my regulars.
Yep. Okay. I have 3 packages of hamburger buns I should go feed to the ducks, unless they're McDonald's hamburger buns, and then the ducks will refuse them.
They love the regular ones.
Jeff Streslek, welcome to Carnivore Talk. Glad to have you here. Lisa says, all 3 of my kids are obese. I told them this would change their lives. They would be free from the food addiction. The crickets. Yeah, no, yeah, I get it. I've got family members, including a child in the same situation, and just doesn't believe me. So, I hate when I forget to tell the waitress no American cheese. Soundbite that needs to be overlaid on video of ducks night eating buns. They eat out all the time. I worry about them. At least when they lived here, I fed them home cooking. You know, that alone could make a difference, honestly. So, like, you know, when I was a wee little kid, because I was born in '75, and you know, as the '80s came to a close and the '90s, you know, then we started to become more of a processed food family. But prior to that, I can remember like my mom and dad cooking every night, you know, and everything was just whole foods. So, like, if you had a steak and potato or steak and green beans, you know, I mean, you know, and I've watched some, you know, videos on this too. The people that, you know, you rewind the clock 60, 70 years, and the majority of the groceries that were sold were whole foods, whether they were fruit, vegetables, or meats. And there wasn't a weight problem, you know, and the amount of processed food that was sold was minimal, like 10%. And, but then you get into like the 2000s, late 90s, 2000s, and the amount of whole single ingredient whole foods that are sold are part of a person's grocery bill make up like 20%. And then the other 80% is the prepackaged ultra processed foods that aren't natural. And then so coinciding with that, we have a disease and obesity epidemic. So that's why I do say that, like, you know, even if you start by just buying single ingredient whole foods around the perimeter of the grocery store, one ingredient, nothing that sits on a shelf and doesn't go bad with an ingredient list this long, that change alone will probably serve you very, very, very well. So, yeah.
But you know, people, that's just it. People don't want to do that. And I remember an example, and this was long before I ever even thought about carnivore or eating right or anything. So a friend of mine from work was complaining on Facebook about the food shortage during the pandemic. And I went, that's funny. I was just at the store and I stocked up on pretty much everything I ever needed. You know, because even before carnivore, I didn't eat a lot of junk. I ate fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, and meat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, chips on special occasions. You know, ice cream was probably the junkiest food that I ate on a regular basis. But anyways, I thought that was strange. And I told him on Facebook, I says, hey, I was just at the store yesterday and there was plenty of food to eat. And he said, well, I don't know what store you're going to. And I said, well, I went to the one in Weatherford. He said, well, they ain't, the one in Hazel is completely out. And I said, okay. And so on my way home, I went ahead and went through Hazel instead of going through Weatherford the next day. So I went through that store and there was plenty of food. There was no frozen pizza. There was no chips. There was no candy. There was no cookies. You know, there was very little bread, but there was a ton of fresh vegetables. There was a ton of meats. Well, I shouldn't say a ton. There was a lot of meats. All the deli meats were gone. All the bologna was gone. You know, but as far as like whole chickens and chuck roasts and steaks and stuff like that, there was plenty of that. There was even lots of eggs. What wasn't there was the junk food. And that was the mindset. That's the mindset of most people. If it's not junk food, if it's not processed food, it's not food to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Revealing. Sad.
Mhm.
Sad as well. All right. I thought Cooper was real American cheese, but it torched it and it acted like plastic. I don't think I've ever heard of. Oh, Cooper must be a brand. I love real sheep milk feta on my ribeyes. Oh yeah, that feta cheese is good. And I don't know if I've ever had feta that was made from sheep milk, unless it's always made from sheep milk. But I mean, I like feta cheese in general.
That Spanish cheese I had today was sheep milk cheese. Good stuff.
Kurt has a question. What time frame should a person stop eating before an A1C blood test? I don't. Does it even matter with an A1C? Because that's a 3-month snapshot.
I don't know. I don't remember if you have to do a fast before then or not.
No fast on A1C. It's a snapshot.
Yeah, because it's a 3-month average. I don't think it matters.
Right.
So, yeah, because it's it's a 3-month average. So whatever you have on that morning is not likely to influence the average. I mean, I guess if you wanted to play it safe, you could, fast for 12 to 14 hours like for most other tests, but it's probably going to make a minimal difference on that 3-month average.
Yeah, you just have I guess, I don't know if it'd be a contradiction you could say between your daily glucose, if you don't fast, would be much higher, and then you could have a lower A1C, and it'd be kind of conflicting numbers there based on the timing of it. But yeah, it's probably best if you're going to do it to be fasted where both numbers, your daily number can kind of coincide with what your average is.
Yeah. So I wouldn't think with that one it would matter. And then,
yeah, it doesn't.
And even like at the kidney test. Oh, no, I mean for the A1C, that we were in agreement there. I was all like, there's some kidney tests I know that you can try and do some things to manipulate your numbers, but you're testing your kidneys, so why would you really want to try and manipulate your numbers?
Yeah.
Mashed blue cheese and butter together on a steak, chef's kiss. Mwah!
Oh, no doubt about that. That's good stuff.
All right. My mom's heart doctor almost killed her by telling her to limit her salt. She almost died from hyponatremia from her sodium levels getting too low. I now tell her you will die if you don't eat salt. Yes, that's absolutely true. Salt to taste. Don't be afraid of salt. I hear that all the time too, because again, when you have kidney disease, no salt for you. Like, no, you got to have some salt. So I do just fine with salt. Let's see here. Can you order your own CAC? Yes, generally. So, and most places are probably going to cost you between $100 and $200, except for here in Cleveland. There's actually a hospital here in Cleveland that received a big donation from a wealthy family, and so I can go get my CAC score for free up here in Cleveland, Ohio. But yeah, you should be able to order your own CAC score. That's just fine, unless you live in a state where for some reason that's barred. But as far as I don't see why it would be, but it could be, because there are some states where you can't go to ownyourlabs.com and order your own blood tests either. There's a few states you're not permitted to do that. So I think in general you should be fine.
I see this
I
brought
think-
up quite a bit on the CSE score. People checking it out, and I'm curious, and this kind of goes out to everybody, not just everybody, you know, in this talk right now, but you know, everybody online. So, what would you do different if your CAC score showed that you had a large amount of plaque? Would it change your mind about carnivore? Would you do something different on carnivore? Or would you leave everything the same? Now, my opinion, strictly my opinion, my doctor wants me to get one and I won't get one simply because one, it's going to cost me $300 and I'm a cheapskate. Two, it's not going to make any difference in how I eat. I'm not going to change anything. Whatever my score is, that score is going to be what it was pre-carnivore. If anything, if it's high, it's probably lower now than it was before I started carnivore. And so I don't see the point in getting one when I'm not going to do anything to change it. You know, I'm going to keep eating the way I eat. And I'd just be wondering what everybody else's opinion on that is.
Well,
Yes.
CAC is not showing the hardened plaque is what it's showing, and
This is the calcified
okay,
plaque.
and it's going to be up there, and there are ways to reverse that, and that's through diet. I would be more concerned with the soft plaque. You know, seeing as how we're eating the way we're eating, that's a moot situation right there because I'm not worried about soft plaque. Hence, I'm going to tell you people, I don't give a shit. I'm going to keep eating the way I'm eating. I'm not going to waste my money and jump on the bandwagon and follow a bunch of sheep. That's just my 2 cents.
So, I'm curious what my CAC score is. You know, again, with my kidney disease, I'm at higher risk for, you know, cardiac issues. And so could there be some calcified plaque within me at 49 years old? There could be. And it was probably being laid down for years before I started carnivore. Knowing the number alone would be meaningless. What you would want to do is get your number and then go back in a year and get your number again and see what the percentage of change is. You know, that's where it's useful. And so, like, if for some reason there's a huge rapid percentage of change, then it might be worth working with your doctor to try and investigate why, you know, and because the reason why does not have to do with LDL per se. And you know, you could be taking too much vitamin D, you could be taking too much calcium. You know, you can do things to slow it down, like maybe pair more vitamin K with your vitamin D or more magnesium or something. You know, it's just different things there too. There's different reasons why, you know, the plaque becomes calcified. Usually if it's calcified, it can go away, but it's statistically unlikely. It's possible, but not probable. The soft plaque, though, that's the stuff that can break loose and cause you problems. The calcified plaque is it's just kind of like there, and be glad that it's calcified. It's the non-calcified plaque that can break loose and cause you a stroke or heart attack. You know, so, and then that can go away, you know, with a proper diet. And usually, you know, what causes plaque? Well, we have a major disagreement between the doctors that we put our trust in versus the mainstream doctors. You know, the mainstream doctors will say LDL, LDL, LDL. The doctors we trust say inflammation in your arteries, and then, you know, if you have chronic inflammation or even hypertension, you know, and your vessels are taking a beating and getting damaged, then the body sends, you know, white blood cells coupled with cholesterols, LDLs, to try and patch that inflammation and heal the walls, and that's what builds up. And so, you know, you are statistically you're more likely to avoid a heart attack or stroke by addressing the inflammation than you are the LDL. So it's not that the LDL is not a factor, but it's not the fire, as they say. It's not the fire that's causing this is the issue. I saw a chart that it was a pie chart, and there was like the reasons why you might suffer a heart attack or have cardiac disease, and there's different sections of the pie were bigger. So like the biggest section of the pie was diabetes, which is chronic high blood sugar, which causes inflammation. And one of the most tiniest slivers of that pie graph was LDL cholesterol. So do you go after that little tiny thing, or do you try and address the big elephant in the room if you're having problems with plaque? You want to try and you want to go after the big guns and try and take care of those, because they're the bigger slices of the pie, the diabetes, the high blood sugar, that's more of a risk that's worth addressing than this little sliver of LDL over here. It's just a minimal risk, So, and it's all about risk, varying degrees of risk. So would the CAC score do anything for me? No. Dr. Kiltz, he had his CAC score ran 6 months ago or so, maybe. And it was higher than he would have liked to have had. It was like 600 and something, but he doesn't care. That for all he knows, it's been like that for years. He doesn't, and then it might just stay that number for the next 10 years. The average person sees their CAC score go up like, is it 2%, 2% or 20%, something like that every year. But the average person is also eating garbage. So if you're not eating garbage, your percent increase from year to year should be minimal. And when you're on a carnivore diet, you're not eating garbage. So a single snapshot CAC score, I don't think will inform you of anything. The only thing it would do is make you nervous, make you fearful. If you got a number that you didn't want to see, then now you're going to live every day with that number bouncing around in the back of your head and your thoughts all the time. And so why subject yourself to that?
Cause you stress, raise your cortisol levels, and kick you out of ketosis.
And also, why do you want to have that poison, that radiation shot? It's a high concentration. It's like a CT scan. It's not as high as a CT scan, but it's still a high dose in a certain area. Why would you want to have that crap? And like they're saying, the cortisol, the stress, the gray hairs. You know what you're doing. Your body's going to tell you if it's not feeling good.
I don't know if the CAC score uses radiation though.
It is. CAC is radiation.
Coronary artery calcium is CAC. It's a CT scan. Okay, is a CT scan radiation?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I didn't know.
That's a high concentrated dose. Mm-hmm. I had a nurse as a neighbor. She was a neighbor. Well, I had a nurse as a neighbor. She was a nurse at the local hospital where I grew up. So you're talking for 40 years she worked there. And she told me after my bike accident, do not get CT scans. She worked as a nurse, but she saw the shit that people went through. And she says, you don't want it.
Yeah, I see. Okay, a CAC scan or coronary artery calcium scan is a radiograph that uses a specialized X-ray technology called computed tomography, the CT scan. Yeah, to visualize calcium deposits in the coronary artery. So it is using an X-ray. So
yeah, it's a highly concentrated dose. That's more than a regular X-ray.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see here. Where were we here? I'm catching up on the chat here.
Oh, the chat slowed down.
Remember, I'm only 2 days carnivore. Usually do recipes. Rick, that requires measurements. That goes back to the why would you measure your butter comment. So yeah, I figured I had to do with a recipe. And then I've been using a Mine Baller to make butter balls out of 2-pound log of Amish butter.
Melon baller.
Oh, okay. And then I have my old glasses on, not my new glasses. I'm usually OMAD, 1 meal a day.
No glasses here.
Let's see here. My dad has terrible rheumatoid arthritis and is pre-diabetic. I'm trying hard to convince him to make big change to ketovore or carnivore. It's frustrating. Yeah, because I was just trying to think, what can you do? Maybe try and find video testimonies of people that had rheumatoid arthritis and get him and send him the links and hope that he watches them. So I have a friend with horrible MS, and they subsist with their hand in a bag of chips all day. And I would love to talk to them about carnivore, but they're another person that kind of thinks I'm a little on the crazy train. But I've been saving some MS carnivore channels and would like to interview someone with MS someday. And so hey, don't listen to me, but listen to this person,
Have you checked
I
that?
think that's what sometimes it works. Sometimes I think you're just too familiar with the person and they don't want to listen to you, especially when it's like a parent, like, hey, I'm the dad. You're not going to tell me nothing, and so then maybe they need to hear it from someone else. That's where a video testimony comes in handy.
There's a girl that lives she moved out of Spain or back to Spain. She had MS and she's been on carnivore for a little over a year.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been on Homestead How, but yeah, she's back to living on her own, and her lesions they're getting smaller. They have not gotten bigger, and she's not had any episodes.
So you mentioned Spain. I wonder if that's the channel called Cabana Chronicles.
That's the girl. Yep.
Okay, I've seen some of her videos. Yeah, that's a good channel. I've got that
And
one.
she was able to, she thought she needed that extra help with the devil's lettuce, and she found out she didn't need it.
Carcass.
The devil's lettuce.
Yeah.
There's a good example of plant toxins. Oh, hey, Rodney's in the house. Good evening, gentlemen. We're having a late dinner of lamb chops and sauteed shrimp and bacon grease, so we won't be able to hang around, but maybe back. Hope you all had a blessed Independence Day. That sounds delicious. I would I'd turn this off and go eat some shrimp too if that was in front of me. Very good. All right, enjoy your dinner. Something's cheaper than Land O'Lakes. That was the butter she was talking about earlier. I can't eat enough in one sitting, so 2 meals a day. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. Is like we were talking earlier. Like Kurt can pound down 3.5 pounds of meat, and I'm kind of like 1.5 pounds at most per sitting. I could probably practice and work that up to something bigger and do okay. And maybe I will someday. I like the idea of OMAD because then that gives me 23 hours of low insulin in my body to burn off what I ate, and then some extra stuff I'm toting around. I'm very surprised 2 days in a row I do not have my usual hungries between 7 and 10 p.m. Very nice. Yeah. And that's good. I go to bed at midnight, so I try not to eat after 7 or 8. So I don't like to eat and go to bed. I can't eat enough in one sitting since having gastric bypass. Yeah, that would be the case. I usually do 2 meals of fatty coffee and a fatty coffee most days. All right. The Carnivore Champion, Rick says that Carnivore Champion needs your email address. So do you have a means of reaching out to the Carnivore Champion?
Yeah, but he can get it from my YouTube page. It's in the About Me section. It's easy to find.
Oh yeah. So go to YouTube and Charger Mopar. Yeah. Yeah, there's a button that says view email address.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then you got to check a box that says I'm not a robot. Oh my gosh. And now you got to click on every square that has a bus.
Oh boy.
All right. And now I got to click on every square that shows a motorcycle. Jeez.
Mm.
All right. Finally. And then you hit submit. Wow, man, you got that email address under lockdown.
I didn't do that.
All right. And yeah, then you can find it that way. I won't read it out loud for your privacy. And then let's see here. We need Rick to come to northern Indiana for population control. The geese here are overpopulated and always blocking traffic. Would those happen to be Canadian geese? Because they are, man, they think they own the hood down here, man. They don't care what's coming. They'll stand there and look at you like, what are you going to do about it? You know,
Get the net.
they got such attitudes. It's so funny.
All right. Well, everybody, I got to go. So thanks for having me and thanks for coming.
All right,
Right.
Kurt, you have a good night. Know that I am working on our little project. I'm about 50% complete. Okay.
Yeah. Remember, we still got some extra add-in stuff. We'll figure that out.
Yeah. Well, I want to take what we have, edit it, upload it, and then you tell me where we want to insert the extras. Okay.
Yep. You got to figure it out. Thanks.
All right. Cool.
Good night,
Have a good
Kurt.
night.
All right. Good night.
Night.
Let's see here. Yeah, these annoying geese are protected. I'm sure they wouldn't miss a few if they ended up in Rick's fridge.
That's what the net is for.
Yeah, just have to go there at night, dress in all black like a ninja.
Okay, let's just quit talking about breaking federal law, please.
All right, I was just having fun. I have several deer and wild turkey every day. You have to be a licensed hunter.
Yeah, I have several too. They're in my
Feed
freezer.
and hunt dogs and exotics. Okay, you know we're almost an hour behind on the chat. This is going back when we were talking about what animals you can hunt year round without outside of us. There's no designated season for them. Yeah, Rick, do you ever eat possum?
I heard they're nasty. I've never had one.
Porcupine are fatty and dig holes. Shoot and cook in a spit. Let it drip. I was watching Alone on Hulu, and there was one of the contestants there caught themselves some porcupine and had themselves a nice meal with it. We shoot coyotes here all the time. Hate them. I was telling someone about your duck guillotine feeder. Making butter is fun, but cheese is a little more work. I usually go out to eat on Fridays with two of my friends. When I usually order a salad, they are already on board to changing it up to go get burgers or to an all-day breakfast place to accommodate me. All right, good. You got good friends there. Nice to have that support. What convinced me was everyone talking about the mental clarity and energy on carnivore. I've already lost the weight. I have just been exhausted since having that virus 7 times. I'm ready for energy. Okay. And I always say this, energy is like, when I say I have more energy, that means that I'm able to keep going and going and going and going and going and going like a battery that doesn't wear out, like the Energizer Bunny. I don't have energy in like I'm Super Mario and I just ate a magic mushroom and I tripled in size and I can shoot fireballs and I can jump like 50 feet in the air. So when some people are like, some people will be like, I don't get that. I don't get that energy that everybody talks about. I think the people that say that have the wrong idea of energy when they hear that and they think of energy in the sense of like drinking an energy drink and they're like power up, you know,
Yeah.
or sugar rush, you know, and that's not what we're talking about when we say we have more energy. But it's like, you know, when you used to be able to, let's say you had to go out and do some yard work and on a hot day, hot, humid day, and, you know, you ate breakfast, you went out, and after an hour or two, you're like, I'm done. And you come in and you crash and you take a nap. Now, as a carnivore, you can go out there and you can put in an 8 to 10 hour shift and get done what you wanted to get done without feeling the need to just throw in the towel. That's what we mean when we say you have more energy.
I have a sustained energy.
Yeah, sustained energy. So not like, you know, you pop the pill and you gain super strength. So that's the way I like to try and explain it, because we've talked to people, both Geoff and I have talked to people, coached them, and they were that's one of their grievances was like, where's all this mighty super energy I'm supposed to have? And it's like,
yeah.
And that's what they were expecting, was that, like, you know, they thought that they were going to go out and power lift and do amazing things. And that's not the energy that we're talking about. Do you eat sausage like the Polish sausage links, or is that all too dirty for you? What about lunch meat? So I'm okay with lunch meat and sausage links. So do I make a practice of eating it? No. But will I eat it if my options are limited? Oh yeah. Yeah. So that's fine. I've got bologna in the fridge. That's probably what I'll have since I didn't have dinner. When I'm done here, I'm going to go down and I'm going to get a slice of beef bologna, a slice of American cheese with some avocado oil mayonnaise. I'm going to put it in an egg life wrap, and that's all I'm going to eat because it's too late to have a meal. So I'm completely okay with that. I might if I don't pack a lunch, and I go down the street because I'm decided I'm hungry. Usually that happens if I'm working with somebody and they start eating in front of me, then I'm like, great, now I'm hungry. And if there's like a Taco Bell and a Panera Bread and a gas station with the roller hot dogs on the grill, I'll go to the gas station, get the roller hot dogs on the grill, or I'll get a bag of beef jerky, and I'll make sure it's clean. The beef jerky, the cleanest beef jerky. A lot of beef jerky is loaded with sugar. And so I don't have a problem with that. All I'm trying to do is kill the hunger, get through the rest of my day till I get home and have a nice dinner. So I'm personally okay. But like I said, I don't make a practice of eating that all the time. Although, if that's all you can afford, that's better than Lucky Charms and white bread and all that other processed food. So, you know, you can do a carnivore diet with Vienna sausages, cans of tuna, cans of salmon, cans of sardines, bologna, turkey breast ham. You can do a carnivore diet with those things and be successful. You'll just probably feel that you feel better with fresh meat. So
I fall into the camp, Dr. Barry's camp, that eat what you can afford. You know, if all you can afford is lunch meat, then that is still better than eating carbs. Now, if you can afford something better, if you can avoid it, I avoid it for the most part. If I'm on the road and I haven't planned ahead and I'm hungry and all that's available is lunch meat, sausages, whatnot, and I can't find really clean ones, then I'll eat what I got to eat in that case. But it hasn't hurt me. I've done it before and it hasn't hurt me. But it's one of those things that I try to plan ahead before I go on trips so I don't run into that situation. And it's, I don't know how to put it, but anyways, it's one of those things you do if you have to do, but you shouldn't do if you don't have to do it. You know, now when it comes to sausage and stuff like that, almost all the sausage I eat is from the animals I kill or the animals that I raise. I don't buy very much store-bought stuff. But if I didn't have the means to eat what I eat normally, I wouldn't have a bit of problem eating lunch meat or eating those store-bought sausages. I would just look for the cleaner stuff, as clean as I could find it. And I find a lot of stuff from the deli is cleaner than the stuff you find pre-packaged, like from Oscar Mayer and whatnot. That generally tends to be a little bit cleaner. Yeah. Well, I'll give an example. I love chorizo, and I've grown up eating chorizo all my life. And I remember picking up a store-bought brand of chorizo that I bought all the time. And I looked at the ingredients on that when I started learning to read ingredients. And I'm going through it, and it's got all this junk in it. And one of the things it had was soy grits. And I went, what the heck is a soy grit, and why is it in my sausage? You know? And I put that back in the cooler. And I told Mama, I says, we're gonna stop at the carniceria on the way home, and I'm gonna get me some fresh chorizo that's made right there at the carniceria, and there's no junk in it. It's just fresh, good Mexican chorizo. And that's the only kind I eat now, so I can get good sausage there.
I have almost every day I have pork sausage patties from I think they're Jimmy Dean. And I get them where like they're pre-cooked. I just got to throw them in the microwave. I eat them every day. I'm completely fine with it. I don't see an issue.
A lot of that goes back to an individual's sensitivities to the foods that they eat.
Right. Yeah. And processed bacon. I'll eat that too. But I'm more of a sausage fan than I'm a bacon fan.
Yeah. See, I make my own bacon, so I control that too.
Mm-hmm. Amy says, the energy is not there yet. 2 days in a row, I barely got out of bed. I've had so much stress I'm trying to get rid of. Last week, I was at the ER twice with family members. It's been one thing after another. When people make excuses, that's the perfect time to start something like this to help manage the stress better. Okay. So if you're connecting to this, just starting carnivore, it might be coinciding with the fact that you've just started carnivore also. So I think if you were keto or ketovore, there wouldn't be much of a transition phase, but there still could be. Sometimes people have this transition phase when they're adapting to an all-meat diet, and they feel a little sapped for energy for a few days. Let's see here, but maybe we'll get some more info as we go on to these comments, because I am still 50 minutes behind. I'm not committing to 90, starting with 30. Yeah, that's fine. My mom needs a cardiologist, Geoff.
Yeah. Well, you have to come to my area, but I got a good one.
Let's see here. Same here. I never dieted before. Watching Rick eat with his bare hands was the catalyst for me, and I had to try it. You've been an influence, Rick.
Seems like it.
Geoff, he was out of here at 9:30. I'm sure he's gone already. Have a good day. Papa Carnivore is here. Was here. Let me look over at my phone. My phone's current. Yeah, good to see Papa Carnivore here. Rick loves ice cream. What is this?
One of his jokes.
I had ice cream today. I made Dr. Kills' ice cream, and I sweetened it with allulose, and that was a disaster.
I've made it, and I do just fine without putting any sweetener in it.
I think the next time I make it, I'm not going to add anything to it.
The cream is sweet enough for me. I use straight cream in it.
Rick especially loves avocados. Oh, ice cream, avocados, iguana ice cream. Ha ha ha. That's the green ice cream with scales.
Frozen iguana.
No Slow was here. Stop talking out your quack, Peter. Let's see here. The carnivore police are coming for you. Uh-oh, that's probably me saying once in a while eat a vegetable. Oh, Lord.
We're going to whip you with a wet noodle.
Now, see, I won't eat a noodle. That's why I call myself a ketovore, even though I'm meat heavy, so people can't call me out on it. Had a pickle yesterday, so there's pickle's like benign, fermented, 0 calorie. It's a stick of crunchy water. I'd be curious to know if that's natural or not, because things like broccoli and cauliflower didn't exist in the past. They're actually man-made plants. That was a shocker to me. For someone that grows up thinking that all these fruits and vegetables were provided for man by the creator, and then I find out that broccoli didn't exist hundreds of years ago, cauliflower didn't exist hundreds of years ago, corn,
that's why there's no cave drawings,
didn't exist hundreds of years ago. It's pretty remarkable. Now there were apples and I think probably tropical fruits and stuff like that, but a lot of these things that are part of our what we think of as normal didn't exist. After 30 days, I would love to have 1 or 2 keto meals a month. And, if you want to do that, I think that's fine. If you're going to cheat with keto. That's what Dr. Berry says. If he cheats with keto. And then some people do. Some people cheat even more than that. Paul Saladino has bushels of fruit. Dr. Kiltz will have French fries once in a while. So, and if Bart K will admit that he's not always a carnivore and that he'll drink beer once in a while. So, all these carnivore doctors and all these carnivore influencers, not all of them, most of them are carnivore most of the time, but will occasionally have something once in a while.
I've thought about it, but I just can't get past the fact that I don't want to put something in my body that's not nutritious for my body. With my one exception of eating a jalapeno once in a while. But that's my cheat right there is my jalapenos.
Mm-hmm.
And they are maybe once a month.
Yeah, so it's not that there's zero nutrition. It's just that if you're meeting all your nutrition needs and meeting them with a surplus, then what's the point of eating the things where there's going to be just trace minerals in it that you may or may not absorb, so.
Right.
Yeah. I wear suits for courts and weddings. Luckily, I haven't been to either one in years. That's how far back we are. We're back to talking about suits. Let's see here. Jamette says, I'm new here from Rick's channel. Welcome.
Welcome.
Glad to have you here.
As always.
And thank you, Rick, for restreaming. That's very kind of you. And
what?
Here we go. Why aren't things going bad like they used to either? Bread in the 80s would go bad in a week. I've seen loaves of bread on the counter not get moldy for 3 weeks. What are they putting in the Franken food? That's actually a good point. I bought bread for my wife and set it on the counter. She made a sandwich and then it sat there and sat there and sat there. And we had to look at the best by date on the bag, but to determine if we should throw it out. Because when you looked at it, it was visibly fine. It showed no signs of mold. But I do remember bread seemed to mold rather quickly in the past. So that's a good observation.
Well, part of it isn't just what they put in the bread and the ingredients. You can look at the ingredients, and I haven't done it, but if you could look at the ingredients from bread in the 60s and 50s versus the ingredients of bread in 2020s, I'm sure there'd be a tremendous difference in the ingredients. But add to that the genetically modified wheat that they're using now. there's got to be a factor in that, because nothing we have today is what our parents ate. Everything has been genetically modified. Every fruit, every vegetable, everything we eat, or everything we used to eat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good stuff. Rick, falling asleep.
Well, you know, bedtime comes soon.
Yep, it does. So we're almost done here. I'm just trying to get through this chat. There's not, well, oh my gosh, maybe there's more than I think. All right. So it's a great channel. These guys are really nice. Thank you, Papa Carnivore.
Appreciate that.
Hop over here, give it a thumbs up. Share it if you were so kind. That would be wonderful. Wonderful. I'm starting to think that Dr. Chafee's video about the advantage to an athlete being in ketosis at the time of a head injury applies to us carnivore stroke survivors too. Oh yeah, I would think so for sure. First time here, Rick
go
mentioned
check out
it in his
Mitch.
live.
Yep.
Yeah, Mitch. Yeah, he had his stroke.
He's giving a lot of credit to Carnivore on his quick recovery.
He's coming along very well. Yeah. All right. The breadcrumb trail from the quacks led me here. When I had a heart attack 10 years ago, docs said stay away from salt. Boy, were they wrong. Yeah. Let's see here. I feel like the CAC was from all the years of abuse and bad eating. It wouldn't change my eating. Yeah,
exactly.
That's kind of where. Why are you going to the doctor, Geoff?
Okay, good question. Okay, one, I go to the doctor every 6 months because I have a heart condition or had a heart condition. And so they want to do blood draw on me every 6 months. This one particular time, I went to the doctor and they did a litany of tests on me, including a MRI with imaging, because I had a lump in my neck. And it could have been anything from, a cancerous lymph node to throat cancer to just a infected salivary gland. And so to check it out, they went ahead and did a blood draw on me. They did a MRI with imaging, and it did turn out it was just an infected salivary gland. But that was why I went to the doctor, and that's when that's why I had to have a blood draw for that. And when he saw my LDL levels, he naturally wanted again to put me on a statin. And once again, I explained to him I will never go on a statin. And of course, he doesn't want to listen. And this is my primary care, not my cardiologist. And so, he said, well, would you at least be willing to go get a CAC scan? And I said, no, it's not going to do me any good. It's not going to mean anything to me. I'm not going to change anything that I do. And I'm not going on a statin. Anytime you want to sit down and have the discussion as to why I won't go on a statin, I'll talk to you. But until then, just know I'm not going to go on a statin. And he said, well, I'm going to send these results of your blood test to your cardiologist. And my immediate thought was he sounded like somebody saying, I'm going to tell your mommy on you. My cardiologist don't care about my LDL. He care less about it. He's never even ordered a blood test on me, except when I had my first severe attack, first severe AFib attack. Then they did a complete scan on me. They did all kinds of scans and imaging on my heart. They did nuclear stress tests. They injected me with dye. They looked at the inside of my heart and my arteries. They did ultrasounds and everything else. And I was clean as a whistle. There was absolutely nothing in there. So I don't think a CAC is going to tell me anything.
It makes me think of, my kidney issue and my PCP. I'll do some blood work and my PCP he doesn't say this, but he basically has this air about him, like, oh my God, you're going to die. We need to send this over to your nephrologist right away. Then I go see my nephrologist, and the nephrologist is like, yeah, you're all right. No need to panic. Come back in 6 months and we'll see how you're doing.
Well, it's not going to be long. We're looking to buy a new place and move, and when we do, we're going to be probably moving at least an hour and a half, 2 hours south of here. So I'll be dropping all my doctors here before long and looking for new ones. Hopefully, maybe when I get to my new area, if I feel the need to go to one, I'll see if I can find me one that's more carnivore-centric.
Yeah, and I did get the call from the lab. I did labs like over a month ago, and my trigs were down into like a much nicer range. And I thought I'd hear good news about it. In fact, I see my doctor Wednesday, my PCP. And but last week I got a phone call from the office, and it was the doctor wants you on a statin. You know, are you willing to go on a statin? And I'm like, no. And then she was like, okay, well then he's going to want to refer you to a cardiologist. Is that okay? Will you go see a cardiologist? I'm like, yeah, I'll go see a cardiologist, you know. And we'll just, I'd rather discuss this with the specialist, you know. So, but I do like my doctor. That's why I keep going to him. You know, he's a nice guy. He is intelligent. You know, he's not a dummy, and he's been very useful to me over the years. But we seem to be butting heads on this lately because I've seized control of my own health and done things for the better. And he doesn't see it that way. So, all right. I have a sub 200 CAC from 2.5 years ago, and the way I eat will slowly lower it. Hopefully he'll tell you that works. Bob and Geoff are informative. We try to be. And that's because we love this lifestyle, and we're kind of nerdy about it. We've done the research, we've read the studies, and now we're preachers of the carnivore way.
Spreading the carnivore gospel.
The carnivore gospel, yep. Monday night quack time. So, yeah. This turns into a discussion about ducks as the night goes on. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, we've been invaded.
Yeah. Oh, let's see here.
It quacks me up. Sorry about that.
Yeah, found this channel from Rick's Live. Yes, thank you, Rick. Yeah, he's kind enough to mention us on Saturdays when I pop in to say hi.
That's right.
And likewise, I want to return the favor. If you're a carnivore, if you're here watching from Carnivore Talk, and you haven't seen Rick's channel, I posted a link to Lexi's channel earlier. So let's actually post the link to Rick's channel here. I'll put this down in the chat. Come over here and click that link. He goes by Charger Mopar. At Charger Mopar. That's his YouTube channel, and go check it out. When it comes to experience eating carnivore, Rick is leading the pack with 43 years of
41.
Carnivore dieting, carnivore lifestyle. Is it 42, 43, right? Something like that. 42.
42 years in August when I started.
Mm-hmm.
41 now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Kurt is in the dark. Yeah, he's outside. So, in his time when it starts getting dark for him, he starts to disappear. He's an hour or two behind me because it was dark for me here for much longer. So, and same with, in fact, I think Rick's in the same time zone as me. So it's 10:40 for us. Mm-hmm. You're an hour behind, right, Geoff?
It's 9:39 here.
Yeah. Let's see here. Great advice panel. That's good. Is there a video for how to cook heart attack chicken?
Oh, yes. There are several.
All right. Yeah. Head over to Rick's channel and search heart attack chicken.
And other people have made videos too.
And we'll have to make ourselves. We'll have to. That's why. That's probably what I need to start. I want to get I like the quality of this camera right here. So, but I want to get I don't like the microphone quality. So I want to get a hot shoe mic that goes on the top of this and points at me to pick up the sound. And I'm going to start vlogging with that outside of this office. And one of the things I want to do is actually, like, you know, share what I eat when I'm out, share what I'm cooking down in the kitchen. My kitchen's not very presentable. It's kind of a lackluster kitchen. So, and but yeah, I want that way to add more variety of content to the channel on the regular videos. So there's a video of a guy who reverses MS. I want to say the channel was Hope and Healing. I will write that down. Here's my pen. Hope and Healing. Thank you for that. I will look it up. Hope and Healing. All right. Yeah, and then Cabana Chronicles for sure. All right. Rheumatoid arthritis is gone except for the old pain of basketball and skateboarding injuries from the 70s. I just, you know what, that's interesting to see the word grandma and skateboarding in the same block.
Well, it was in the 70s.
That is super cool. Yeah, no, I skateboarded a little bit in the 80s. I wasn't ever any good at it, but that's awesome. Let's see here. No Carb Life, I think, has had MS people on his channel. Yes, I bet he is. Yeah, I bet he has. I need to get back in touch with him because we were going to do an interview before I had that ceiling fall on my face and disfigure me for a while. And then I didn't want to be filmed looking like that. Yeah. I need to get that back on the calendar. Let's see here. Trying to catch up. I'm skipping stuff now. There's a lot of small talk. Ivermectin clears up my brain fog. Let's see here. Energy, in other words, stamina. Yeah, that's yep. Exactly. Yep, good explanation of energy. Carnivore does give energy like an Energizer battery. Where is Carrie? So he doesn't stalk at this time of night. The fake Carrie. Here's a question. Is it okay to eat egg wraps on carnivore? I had one and it was yum. Says on ingredient, egg whites and seasoning. So I think you're talking about Egg Life wraps. And I would say the answer to that is yes. I use them all the time. They are just egg whites. And there's the plain egg whites one. I think it's just egg whites. And then I get the Southwest ones and that'll have a little seasoning in it. And it's just is a trivial amount of seasoning. Nothing to worry about one bit. So yes, you can make use of egg whites, Egg Life wraps all you want. That's how I make carnivore tacos. You know, I use Egg Life wraps. I make my lunch meat wraps with them if I want to have a lunch meat. So yeah, there's a lot of diversity there. I can melt cheese in between them in the microwave or fry it on a pan with some butter and then cut it into quarters, and I've got myself a cheese quesadilla. So yeah, Egg Life wraps are a beautiful thing. I got 3
packs of them in my refrigerator right now. I like making egg burritos, you know, breakfast burritos out of them, even though I eat breakfast around 1. But what I like to do to them is I like to coat them with melted butter and brown them in my cast iron skillet, just like I do with a regular tortilla, you know, to heat it up. I do that with the Egg Life wrap, and I'll toast it pretty good on both sides. And they're a pretty decent substitute for a tortilla. For somebody that grew up eating Mexican food, I'll take it.
Yeah, and I think you can. I've seen people actually take like a pizza cutter and cut them into strips and have them make like a noodle type dish out of them too. So they're very. I think there's a lot of diverse things you do. Yeah.
I don't remember who I saw do that. I think it might have been Chris Cook in Nashville. He took some, or he made. That's what it was. He made his own himself, and he's got a recipe for it. And then he sliced them up, rolled them up, and sliced them like noodles. And I tried that. I don't remember what I made with it. Some kind of Alfredo, I guess. It was a pretty poor substitute. I'll just stick with making my burritos and tacos out of them.
Grandma says, I'll eat lunch meat and hot dogs, but feel better on fresh meats. Yep. So do I.
Through that.
Yeah. And then let's see here. And then we have, speaking of Bart K, if you have the means, please go to his channel and donate to the devastation his farm is going through. So I am actually unaware of this. I will have to catch up on
Yeah, he's
my
had
Bart
some
K
flooding
videos.
over on Pimbardia.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and post a link. That's the link to Bart K's channel. I like Bart K. If you go over there and you're sensitive to foul language, notice that he used to make explicit use of it over the years. He's trying to clean it up, though, recently. Let's see here. Cucumbers are related to watermelons. Is that true? I never heard that. Oh, now I gotta research it. Cucumbers related to watermelons. It actually makes sense. They grow on a vine on the ground, just like zucchinis and squashes and stuff, and pumpkins. They all could be related. Yeah. All right. Catching up. I've looked at the stores and I can't find any duck.
Hey.
Bob,
We've got it in
personal
our Wally
preference,
World stores here.
but I
but
haven't
it's
owned a
expensive.
microwave. Yeah, I'm sure Donna Duma Meats there's some duck. I bet you there's that place has everything. But I don't traditionally see duck in a normal grocery store.
Yeah, we have it around here.
Meow, 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 meow. Meow, meow, meow.
My personal preference, but I haven't owned a microwave in around 40 years. Sir, would you like it nuked? No, thank you, ma'am. I'll pass. I was saying that when they came out. It's not natural. Yeah, I make use of a microwave. I have one that rides around in my truck because I like warm food. I don't like to eat
Yeah, I
packed
think-
cold
I think
nights.
Rod was responding to an earlier post where somebody had mentioned that microwaves were no bueno.
Mm.
I have a built-in heater in my truck.
Yeah.
The engine, manifold.
Engine.
Yep.
Right.
Jeff, I saw a post today that said we shouldn't eat foods that made us sick in the first place.
True
No.
that.
Yep.
Built-in.
And
Thank
then Jamette says, Bob and Jeff, thanks for answering Egg Life wraps. In one store, it was called Egg Life Everything Bagel. Okay, so that I would have to see. I have no knowledge of the. Oh, the flavor was called Everything Bagel.
Yeah.
If it was Egg Life wraps and the flavor, yeah, they have all kinds of flavors. I think they're all going to be fine. I mean, just obviously look at the carb count. It's probably going to be 0 or less than 1. I think you're going to be good.
I
The Egg
tried
Life
the
wraps-
everything bagel.
Yeah,
wasn't
the Egg
impressed.
Life wraps they're like a godsend for a keto carnivore. What you don't want to do is go to where the actual tortillas are and get the so-called keto tortillas.
Carb,
They're like
low carb, no
efficient,
carb.
low carb, and because like if you look at the ingredients, it'll be made from flour,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll say like, oh, there's a name for it, modified resistant wheat starch or something like that, and they count that as a fiber because they know keto dieters will subtract fiber from their carb counts, but it's a lie. The carb is actually a carb in that wrap, and it's no different than the normal tortilla. So stay away from keto bread, keto tortilla, but Egg Life wraps, that is legit. That's the real deal.
Yeah.
So definitely you stock up on those and enjoy them. I give them at Sam's Club in a bulk box too, and they're a little cheaper. All right. Rick, wake up and go wrestle an alligator. I don't think he's in any condition to wrestle an alligator at the moment. He looks like he's going to fall asleep. And I think it's time for us all to fall asleep. That is the end of the chat. So we made it to the end of the chat. We haven't chatted as long as we have last week, but that's okay. I'm not actually looking to set records. But this is our second longest one, running at 2 hours and 50 minutes now. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to hang up.
Same.
Me too.
All right. So for those of you who are watching and have stuck with us for the whole 2.5 hours, or jumped in at some time and you're still here at the end, well, we want to thank you for hanging with us. It's a privilege to have you here listening to us flap our gums about how much we love carnivore and talking to you in the chat. Everybody have a good night. Know that we'll be back next Monday, because we do this every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Right, for reference, it's 10:50 p.m. right now. If you want to look down at your clocks, you can always find out the time in your time zone in the calendar over at carnivore-talk.com. Come on over there and register for an account, and that's where we're chatting throughout the week and helping others on their carnivore journey as well. It's free, no obligation, and a lot of the same cool people you see here on Monday nights are over there throughout the week.
And if you want to see more of me, I'll be on tomorrow night.
Yeah, so where will you be tomorrow night?
I'll be with Russ Mitchell at 8:30 on the Keto Cookout.
Keto Cookout. So yeah, so they go look up the keto. Do you restream that one?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you can go to the Keto Cookout channel, or it sounds like you can hang out with the rest of the quackers on Rick's channel.
That's it.
And watch it from there. And
every 2 weeks, like clockwork.
Yeah, either way. But I say, go back and forth, visit everybody, subscribe to everybody, and show everybody your support. So thank you, Rick, for being here as part of this panel. We appreciate that. Thank you, Geoff. Geoff's like the OG when it comes to Carnivore Talk. He's been the member that's been around the longest and has stuck around the longest. And it's been really nice talking to you both, and those that aren't on here anymore, like Lexi, and we had Scott, and we had Kurt, and am I missing anybody? Lexi, Scott, and Kurt.
Milton got stuck.
I think that was it. We had 6 tonight.
Yeah.
If I'm missing somebody,
Milton.
you come at me later and tell me what a fool I am. All right. That's it. Good night, everybody. I'm going to end the stream in 3, 2, 1. If you guys want to stick around and talk a little more, that's fine. So good night.
Ow.
See ya.
All right. Milton, no.
Milton, no. We're giving them back to you right now.